How's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of the Rugby World Cup 2023 competition. It is an afternoon game in France between Wales and Georgia. Now, if Wales win this game, they secure themselves their spot at number 1 in Pool C. But if they do not win this game, there is still a technicality that could have Fiji top in the group, which would also mean that the Australians do miss out. Looking through at this Welsh lineup, it is Gareth Thomas at number 1, Dewey Lake at 2, who will be captain for this fixture, and Thomas Francis slotting in as tie head prop, Will Rowlands and Daft Jenkins as the locking duo, and then Aaron Wainwright, Tommy Reffel and Talupe Faletau, the loose forward trio. Now, since returning from injury, Faletau has looked very strong. I assume that this game up against the Georgians will be no different. We know that Georgia, normally where they are strong, is in that forward pack, and Talupe Faletau loves to bring that physicality. Thomas Williams at number 9 with Gareth Anscombe slotting in as 10, a man who did get subbed onto the field early in the last fixture due to the injury of Dan Biggar, had a man-of-the-match performance, so I'm sure be looking forward to the start here. Nick Tompkins at number 12 with George North on the outside at 13, Rio Dyer out on the left wing, Lewis Rees-Zammit out on the right, lot of speed. He will be going head-to-head with Ninashvili in this contest, and Liam Williams slotting in as number 15. So they are just showing the table there. We will do the same looking at how this grouping sits. Currently, Wales are on 14. So if they can walk away from this game with 0 points whatsoever, and the Fijians win their game up against Portugal with a bonus point, that would then propel them up to first place. And the Georgians, unfortunately, no matter what happens here, they will stay in the position of fourth. Looking through at this Georgian lineup, a few changes made, but overall still a relatively stock standard foundation of what this Georgian side has been throughout this Rugby World Cup. Like I mentioned, they love to play it in the forwards. If the backs can score themselves a few more tries in the upcoming fixtures for Georgia, I'm not just talking the World Cup, but also the games down the line, I feel like it will be heavily beneficial for the way that they played. But it is Gogichashvili at number 1. Also, Gigashvili will be slotting in at number 2. At number 3, and a change of Momokashvili at number 2 for this match. Lophanidze is starting at 9 with Matkarva at 10, and then Shirikadze at number 12, the captain, keeping his spot. Tabutsadze scored a try a couple weeks ago. We'll be looking to repeat that venture in this contest. Ninashvili out on the left wing, and then it is going to be Kamaladze at number 15 for Georgia. Looking through at the chat, we have got there morning, says Yvonne, welcome in. Hope you are doing very well. Hi, Hamish from Joburg. Says Michael, morning all, says Mikhail. And also, are you ready to watch Georgia shock the world? Says Aiden. And Anscombe out. Has he been taken out already? Wait a moment. They are just showing the lineup at the moment. They're up to 5. But if he is out, that is a massive blow. Yeah, Costello. And number 10, what happened to Anscombe, Sean? Out of curiosity, because if he's out and Dan Biggar is out, that's going to heavily impact Wales. It's starting to sound like New Zealand back when Stephen Donald had to return to play at 10 for the Kiwis. We have got there, g'day Yvonne and Hayden. And apologies, Hamish, old age. Says Ian Foster. And also we have got there, do you think this will be a surprise today? Any of the games? I think, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because there's 3 favourites. And I've actually got the odds here in terms of who is the most likely to cause the upset. Georgia, they are slight underdogs of $7.50, which is quite a reasonable underdog. Normally, you see, I think the biggest underdog to win was Fiji, and they were about $4.50. So it just tells you that Georgia, they are slightly less likely to be able to get themselves the victory here, but they are a good side, and if they can get it right, they can certainly push any of the sides. Scotland are the least likely to lose of the underdogs, and then Samoa, the heavy underdogs for their game up against the English. I honestly feel, though, that any of those 3 can cause an upset if they do get it right. For the games tomorrow, there are a few more one-sided affairs. The closest game of all of this round is definitely Japan versus Argentina. And Argentina coming in as huge favourites there. I actually think Japan have a great chance in that contest, but we will, of course, have to wait and see how that game does end up going. We have got Anscombe pulled his groin, an injury in warm-up, so hopefully nothing too serious and just a pulled groin. A week or not even a week or 2. He needs to be back ready to go by the quarters, doesn't he? And good morning, afternoon. Wales by 20 to 25 points, says Akaris. And Georgia versus Wales, game 152 for me, says Ian Boston. Georgia by 3 or more, says Aiden. Hello, Hamish and everyone, says Stulberger. in there as well. So Georgia doesn't have automatic requalification. They do not. No, they will have to go through the repechage or the qualification next year. Or sorry, not next year, the year after or the year after that, depending on when they start doing those qualification games. Normally it's about 2026 or 2025 we start seeing those first matches. I think Wales' style of game benefits them against Georgia, but I don't know, says Mikhail. Well, the benefit that Wales have is they have had to play structure throughout this Rugby World Cup, but then they've also had to play that free-flowing game that we saw when they were taking on the Fijians. So they have shown that they are a jack of all trades, which is good news for them throughout this stage of the competition, because the more, I guess, you have had to adapt throughout a World Cup, sometimes that is the better that you go. Bugger, Dan Bigger got Dan carded. Says Ian Foster, South Africa just scored a world record at the Cricket World Cup. South Africa 428 for 5. They did seem like they were going all right when I saw it. They were around 350 after 43 overs, and I was thinking, geez, Sri Lanka got their hands full. Hi all, hope it's a competitive game and not another blowout. My prediction, Wales by 25, says Brian there. So yeah, there is a chance that we see a lot of points being scored by the Welsh here, although with that late change of Costello going in at 10 now, he did play up against South Africa not too long ago and actually didn't go too badly in that process. But, of course, we have to wait and see what kind of impact that will have. Now, he was supposed to be coming off the bench. I haven't actually seen who the replacement is for him playing at number 22 as of yet. I'm sure one of you guys will be able to help me out there. But Elliot D, Nicky Smith, and Thomas as the front row. Chinza at 19 and Tame Basham at number 20. Davis at 21, not Costello at 22. And it is going to be Grady at number 23 for the Georgians. Just looking through Abeladze, normally pretty decent in terms of what he's able to bring to the scrums. Abrasidze, he has had a bit of an impact as a halfback replacement. Habandadze, no, I apologise. It's Abs Handadze is going to be the replacement, and Abrasidze is actually going to be in the loose forward trio for this game. 6-2 split for the Georgians. In this match ending from Tokyo, says DJ, an afternoon from Africa. Says Derek, what's the crack, Irish? Big hairy one, says Sean. And there, we've got a few big games taking place today. I'll be honest, this one of the three seems like it has drawn the least attention out of all of the contests. But the good news is, I believe it's only Romania, Tonga. In fact, no, that's a lie. Every game can change rankings in this Rugby World Cup round. And a few of the games can actually change who qualifies for the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. So there is still quite a bit on the line. This is one of those contests that for Wales, if they do win it, they secure themselves number one in their group currently. These are the sides that have confirmed their spots in the quarterfinals. I should mention we are covering every single one of these games on the channel, ladies and gents. So at the moment, we don't know anyone of this game, but if Wales win this contest, they will be that team that qualify as the winner of Pool C. Currently, New Zealand versus Ireland does seem the most likely, depending on that result, of course, of Ireland versus Scotland. France versus South Africa is one that has been rumoured is what that one could be. England versus Fiji seems most likely, and then Argentina versus Wales. Those are the four expected quarterfinals. Now, the beauty of this Rugby World Cup is we've had a couple surprises along the way, and this, or one of these games coming up, could be another one that we do see. But yeah, these are the finalists that are already confirmed. Now, I should mention Wales have confirmed their spot in the top two of their group. It's just that question mark of whether they are here. If they lose this game and Fiji end up winning theirs, it will actually be a Wales versus England Six Nations rematch for the quarterfinals, and that would mean that Fiji versus Argentina is possibly what we see as that first contest, or Australia versus Argentina, or Japan could make their way through in that group. There is a lot on the line coming in the near future. Can't wait for Japan versus Argentina. Says DJ, South Africa taking TV stations to court on Tuesday for not showing the Rugby World Cup on Open View. Says Starwin, I Hamish Wales to win respect to Georgia, but Wales are gaining momentum. And who is playing 10 for Wales? It is Costello in this match. Bigger on the bench. Okay, so that's slightly good news, I guess, for Wales. The fact that Dan Bigger is slightly match fit enough to have a few minutes near the end of the contest, which will be beneficial. They are just showing Tommy Reffel, a big, solid individual. Captain for this game, of course, Dewey Lake at number 2 for the Welsh. And Wales by 25, says Sean in there as well. That seems to be quite a common scoreline at the moment. We have got there, I'm Argentinio. If we play as bad as we did, I think Japan will win. Hope not, but they are a tidy team, says Mikhail. Yeah, Argentina have certainly been, I guess, a way of describing it would be a hot and cold team throughout this Rugby World Cup, because that game up against England just didn't look like the Los Pumas side that we had seen throughout the Rugby Championship. But then we saw glimpses of a great Argentine side up against Chile. The game up against Samoa was gritty, it was grindy, but they got over the line, which was all that they needed to do. And I feel like that's a little bit similar for England in some regards, how people criticised their first game up against Argentina because they weren't able to score any tries, but they walked away with that victory, and that kind of took the wind out of the Argentinian sails. So curious to see how that game between England and Samoa goes. Of course, the big thing for all of these teams playing from here on out is avoid injury. That's the main thing. Wales by 15 to 20, says Ars Robinson, and my prediction is 50 points to 5 to Wales. What is your score prediction, says Morne Lagrange? I think I actually predicted a relatively close game between these two sides in our original Rugby World Cup predictions. I did predict a Welsh win, though. We had our holiday in Georgia last year, beautiful country and friendly people, and excellent beer, says Brian. And I'm hoping for a showing by Georgia, says Yvonne. And there as well, but do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, who you think will be the first try scorer in this contest. I honestly believe that Lewis Rees-Zammit, similar to the game up against Portugal, has a decent chance of walking away with the first try in this contest. But the Welsh national anthem being sung, Lewis Rees-Zammit to score first. Big respect, Hamish, says Lewin there. So we're on the same wavelength in that regard. Looking through at the previous results for the Welsh, now they are currently unbeaten in this Rugby World Cup competition. The only other team, or the only few other teams that have already stayed unbeaten by the stage of the quarterfinals, at this stage confirmed, is France. They are the only other side. England still have to play their game. Ireland still have to play their game. Yeah, France undefeated. Wales looking to do the same. They had that close game up against the Fijians in round number 1, 32 points to 26. And they were able to beat the Portuguese 28 points to 8. But that game, I would say, in terms of throughout the 80 minutes, was a little bit closer than that scoreline does represent. But one game that was not close was their next contest up against Australia, the biggest losing margin for the Australians in a Rugby World Cup. And then they conceded another try to make it 34 points difference between the two sides. For the Georgians in this Rugby World Cup campaign so far, they did lose to the Wallabies. They had a draw with the Portuguese, and then they had a narrow loss to the Fijians, losing that game 17 points to 12, which did allow the Fijians to get themselves in the box seat to move on to the quarterfinals. But of course, they have to play tomorrow at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, and that will determine whether or not they are the side that make their way through to the quarterfinals. Okay, there we gave away too many chances, unnecessary penalties, even with Chile. Rucks are a big problem. And also Wales versus Argentina, Ireland versus New Zealand, England versus Fiji, South Africa versus France finals, says Trajan. And the thing is, if that was how it sat, I believe that was exactly what I predicted in our video. Although I didn't predict New Zealand finishing second, I predicted that South Africa would finish first and New Zealand would finish first, which is why they wouldn't play. But it's actually the other way around, that they are both finishing second, more than likely. So that's why they won't play. I wonder who's the referee for this match, says Mornay Lagrange. Well, wonder no more, because I will have that information in a very short moment. This game between Georgia and also the Welsh. One moment. There we go. We'll click that button. Scroll down. Who haven't we seen for a while? We haven't seen Matthew Carr. I think we'll have a Kiwi, or no, he'll be doing the one later on. Matthew Reynal. It is the French referee in charge of this one. And also, will the Box be playing in the quarterfinals, Hamish? What do you think? I think so. I feel like the chances of them missing out are extremely slim. But if it did somehow happen, yeah, it would be a massive shock. And the big thing is, I guess, with the head-to-head as the decider, South Africa, other than going up against the Irish, have got like the head-to-head advantage. When it comes to them versus South Africa, they did win that game. You've seen me, mate, says Ian Foster. I certainly have. I saw you earlier on when you called me Hayden. Ian Foster, hello, Mr. H and all, says Andre Vermeulen, and Z's everywhere, says Fluffy. And also we have got there Georgia by 3, says Rudy. Are you going to do some of the Cricket World Cup games, says Rudy? I haven't quite decided yet. Last time we did the Cricket World Cup, we actually ended up with a copyright strike. So if we did end up doing it, it would probably be on the Kiwi Lads Sport channel, which is actually where we're considering covering the International Rugby League that is coming up. in the near future. We might be doing some of that on the Kiwi Lads Sport channel if that is something you guys do want to see. We have got there, how's George? Says Aiden, he's good, although he's currently got a cold, I believe, which has also been why he hasn't been round in the last kind of 3 or 4 days. But we have filmed a video near the start of the week that will be coming up on the Kiwi Lads Entertainment channel in the near future. I think he's releasing it tomorrow, if I'm not wrong, which is actually today now in New Zealand, ladies and gents. But Wales will be kicking off from left to right to get us underway for this contest. If Wales win, they top the group. If Georgia win, there's a chance for the Fijians to do so. Georgia cleaning it up inside of their 22 currently. They do need to push the pace early in this game up against Wales, although one of the problems that we have seen is Georgia do look like they gas out around their 80 minutes or so, which is a pretty tricky one for them for those last 20s. We have got their greetings all. Some great rugby today, says Kevin. Okay, just in time to start for some bringing or some binging of the rugby. Says Number, thank you for your insight about the box. I much appreciated. Says Stahlberg, a little bit of a kicking battle early on. Looks like will be now kicked downfield from Liam Williams. Rolls forward. Now Matt Carver having to run backwards to try and carve through the defensive line of Wales, but he is stopped by Nick Tompkins. Looks like we've got to summon Crumpus. Says Dylan there. Is this dead rubber or can Georgia get through? Georgia cannot get through, but Wales can be stopped from getting the top spot in their group, which would then mean that they play England in the quarterfinals rather than the winner of Argentina versus Japan. So there's still a bit on the line for the Welsh, and that's a brilliant take there. I believe that was Sam Costello, man, who was brought into the lineup late. We have got there Anscombe and Bigger out for long. Well, I think Anscombe, from the sounds of it, it's just a strain, so he should be all right maybe next week or the week after. I think at worst he would miss 1 week, and then Dan Bigger's actually off the bench, I've been informed, to replace Costello later on in this game. Sacrifice a possum to summon Crumpus. Hey, howdy, hey, y'all. I hope you're all doing well, says Grumless. Welcome in. You are doing extremely well too. Because these games in the US, ooh, the voice is starting to struggle, but these are at kind of decent times, aren't they, Scrumlass? Or is it the later games that get to a little bit of a bad time? Or is it the early games that not so great? I know the USA is about 18 hours behind us, so I guess they may not be terrible timed games. We have got their Maters, whereas the suit and tie just finished. Come on the Irish just after watching a rugby chat about the game tonight versus Scotland. Thinks South Africa are pretty scared, says Dennis. But yeah, the suit will be out a little bit later on tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just wearing the hoodie for now because it's quite cold. So I thought I'd stick with being a bit warmer on this one, but we will be bringing it out a little bit later on tonight. Currently, Georgia giving away the penalty in the breakdown. Player leaving feet. I believe that is against Guram Gochichashvili is the name. South Africa not scared of anyone, says Dylan. And 5 p.m. Hamish. So time's all good, says Peter Wild. And also this is a 9 a.m. game in Quebec, Canada. And remember me, says Layla. Certainly do. You were here a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, hope you are doing well once more. In fact, you might have even been here last week, if I am correct. Now 3 minutes in. They've just said about Dan Bigger wasn't expected to play until the quarterfinals, but he is now going to be back off the bench. You brought me to my knees, says Fluffy, and it's 7 a.m. right now in the high desert, Hamish. I need a coffee and a donut, says Scrumlass. And 2 a.m. in New Zealand, says Trajan. Let's go, Rhea, first try scorer, says says G. And then now rolling maul for the Welsh in the hands of Dewey Lake, the captain. Well, this match, Matthew Raynell telling the Georgians to get back on side. Now, slinging it across Williams, inside ball to Lewis. Reese Zammit tries to go over the top of the blindside flanker, not quite able to do so. Now, Dewey Lake has his legs chopped out from underneath him. Looked like an awkward landing as well. Neck roll by Red. That is why the player is still down. He was rolled over to his side, and also Derek has set up the picks. And also we have got their box not scared, just nervous everyone is, says Stull. And also 303 and South Africa and biggest nail biter so far, Wellington versus Waikato. Yeah, that game went down to the wire, that is for sure. It's similar to Hawke's Bay versus Wellington for the Ranfurly Shield, because that's the thing, the Ranfurly Shield cannot be contested in a quarterfinal or a semi-final match, can it, for Hawke's Bay? Even if they're at home, I don't think it is on the line that I know of. We have also got there, one moment, I've lost the chat, there it is. Willie has said, hi there, my mate. I wear your suit today. It is coming out later on tonight. It's just we've got 3 games in a row, so we are staying comfy for the first little while. And then we'll put the suit on for the later matches. Did you catch the Waikato-Wellington game last night, Hamish? I saw the score. I sadly didn't get to watch the game as of yet, mainly because I had to sleep so that I could stay up all night for these streams. So I've been missing out on some decent games of the Bunnings NBC for the sake of getting a couple hours sleep before these streams. What's that stadium behind you? It is the Stade de France. So we're stuck with that one. Rudy, I'm Namibian. Says Layla. Correct. It's Hawke's Bay safe for the Shield. Says Peter Wild at 9 a.m. here in Virginia, USA. Let's have everyone support here. Says it was Julian. So welcome in. I predict a 35-13 win for Ireland. Says Julian there. Now it's a knock-on advantage against the Georgians. Going for the cross kick here for Thomas Williams. Ball just goes into touch though. A decent territory kick from Thomas Williams. Looks like there's another injury here. This looks like Mark Carver might have taken some sort of knock to the back of his head. Might be an ugly one. I think it's when he went up. Oh yeah, no. That was actually Ninashvili. And he has been folded in half as he landed. Yeah, no, that's not good for the back of the neck. Yet is he back up to his feet? I think the crowd are asking for some sort of penalty. But I believe both men went up for the ball. Georgia tried to milk a yellow card. Don't like that. Says Brian. Now cross passing from the Welsh. It's going to be George North on the short side of the field. Tackled low by the captain. Big charging run from Aaron Wainwright. And the penalty for player leaving his feet. I believe that was Dewey Lake. He's saying, I was pulled down, ref. Referee saying there's no one there to pull you, Dewey. Get back to the line. I meant Wales, not Ireland. Says Julian. And nice, says Layla. And up to South Canterbury. Go on finals. Morning to Kiwi lads. Says Blues Nate, and sleep, plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. Rugby more important, says Peter Wild. That is what I've been convincing myself all throughout this Rugby World Cup. And, you know, eventually the body might say otherwise, but for now we're still going slightly strong, I would say, throughout this Rugby World Cup competition. We have got there, I'm in Pretoria, Layla, says Rudy, and New Zealand versus the France team is the final, says Trajan. It didn't look like that French stadium without the Irish bands in it, wink, wink, says Dennis. Because that's actually the game that has taken place at Stade de France tonight, isn't it? Ireland are going to have another game at the Stade de France, which seems like an absolutely awesome atmosphere. We saw the crowd singing after that game between Ireland and South Africa. Should leave the woods out of the NPC quarters. Says Blues name George North, Gareth Anscombe and Talupe Faletau need good games. My fantasy team depends on it. Says William, well, I have a feeling that Talupe Faletau should have a solid enough game. Oh no, it's Skonda's teammate in the head. Tried to get the pass going. That's happened more and more since Joe Marler got a try assist with the head. Now everyone seems to be passing it straight into their teammates. Swedes, that's nice run forward from Ninashvili after his awkward fall earlier on. Looks like he is going to be all right to continue. We have got Kerr in the chat and said, good morning, boys and girls. You'll never believe what happened, Kerr. I don't know whether or not you saw my message on Discord, but a random cheer showed up at my house. I don't know whether or not you know anything about that. And no South Africa versus Ireland in the final, says Rudy. Italy were useless. France also wasn't at their best, says Mark Wainwright. And Chair Report says Yvonne, one showed up at my door yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Some random fella knocked on my door, went, and then there was just a random box on my deck, and I was like, right, well, I know who's done that, or I think I know who's done that. But yeah, I haven't assembled it as of yet, mainly because those are normally pretty tricky, you know, you got to put all the wheels in and everything. So I probably will end up assembling it maybe today if I get a chance, which hopefully I will. But yeah, thank you very much, Kerr, for the random surprising cheer. It's a Kerr package. Says Kerr there on French television, do all they can to manipulate matches, the crowd and the ref. Says Simi Wimmy, is that how you'd say that? Morena, my beautiful sister, send mum. Roa, Scumlass, let's go, and Tino, okay. Says Layla. And the Marler effect. Says Fluffy, it's kicked him behind now. Georgia, just let that one go dead. I'll go back to where it was kicked from by the youngster, Sam Costello. We have got their Wales are already victors. For the courageous players highlighted the efforts of head injuries in the game. Says Patricia Black. Of course, for Wales, if they walk away with the victory here, they will get themselves first spot. They'll go head-to-head with the winner of Argentina versus Japan. If they don't win here, for the Georgians. Of course, we are sitting 0-0 after 9.5 minutes. That would mean that there is a chance that Wales go head-to-head with England, depending on what happens. Alongside it, read the Afrikaans, please. I do not speak Afrikaans, so it's very recent, or it's very risky, I should say, for me to read out stuff that I don't know what I'm saying. I've learnt my lesson doing that in the past. I once got a donation from a fella that said, hey, I've just made you say every single swear word in Tongan. And that was fun, because then I got a whole heap of those swear words back from the Tongan supporters. Well, viewers, I guess I should call them. Very decent of you, Kerr. Says Yvonne, I'm disappointed that you don't do any Cricket World Cup commentary. You have very good commentary, says Morna Lagrange. Although it's only because if I do the Cricket World Cup on the channel, we get copyright struck, and then we aren't able to do any Rugby World Cup commentary, because you get banned for 3 months. So it's one of those ones that even if you get the copyright strike removed, it would take 2 weeks, and that would then mean that we miss 2 rounds of the Rugby World Cup. So that is why we aren't covering the Cricket World Cup. It's not because we aren't excited about those games or don't want to watch those games. It's just because the way that the cricket, I guess, YouTube community is corrupted on YouTube, sadly. Like, we've had false copyright strikes from random Sri Lankan YouTube channels who aren't showing the game either, but they want to take out everyone else who they think could be their competitors, which is actually not, like, legal, but, you know, what's anyone going to do? They can't stop them. Hamish, what music do you listen to? I have a playlist on Spotify called the 100-Hour Power Tower. And pretty much what that is just songs from all eras and all genres just thrown into one playlist. I think it's like 1,700 songs, and I just put that on when I'm editing. Great to be here again, the best sport on field and off, says Eric. And can we put the score in the chat? Says Rudy. Well, it's currently 0-0 at this stage. Are you talking about the cricket though, Rudy, for the chat side of things? That looked like an awkward little bit of a twist of the ankle there. And we have got there, hi, says Yucko, welcome in, and looking forward to the Wales versus New Zealand semi-final, says Simi Wimmy. I am 100% a proper, I am 100% a proper nice chair will be required. But this is just a comedy factor purchase, although it did look quite nice online, says Kerr. Okay, so it's like I guess it's a substitute chair till we get the big one. Is that what you're saying? Possibly. But yeah, it's hugely appreciated. Like, it looks, I like the yellow. Or in fact, no, it's not even yellow, sorry. That's forward. It's got, what? They've said flat. But yeah, it's black and white. So people will think that I'm supporting the All Blacks with it, which of course some will get annoyed about, but hopefully not too many. That's going to be loose. Daft Jenkins cleans it up. But it was a scrappy game so far. If you make a false copyright strike, you should be banned yourself. I agree, but unfortunately, due to, there's just some problems in the YouTube landscape. They're slowly trying to get rid of it, but yeah, if you receive a false copyright strike, it's still like a pain to have to try and remove it. I'm back for the greatest commentary ever available. Thank you, Hamish. Says Schwal, thank you very much for being here. It is hugely appreciated, and we have got 2 more games back-to-back tonight. First game, England versus Samoa. Second game will be the matchup between Ireland and Scotland, a Six Nations rematch. That one has got a big match feel to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes for the two sides. I did look at a nice yellow gaming chair, but it was 800 New Zealand dollars. Not the kind of person, or not the kind of not the kind of put have to be made without homeowners' input. Says, it's a purchase, is it? Sorry, my brain stopped working there. Oh, charged down, sorry. I'm yelling. I didn't mean to. Now, it's nice work from Georgia to be back there. Covering was Kamadze. That's not his name, surely. Kamaladze. On the ball is what we're hearing from the forwards from Wales, and they were correct. He was on the ball. So now the turnover is there for the Welsh. They've got numbers on this left-hand side. Wide cut-out pass to Rio Dyer, who tries to step on the insides, is forced into touch. Go, lads, Welsh ways, says David. And howdy, bud. You going well? How's tricks? Well, how's things? Says Kurt, and purchase, says Kurt. Yeah, my brain took way too long to work that out, didn't it? $100 for a gaming chair. It better have a built-in bidet. Says Scrumless. Tell you what, it feel like sitting on, what would it even feel like sitting on for $800? Probably sitting on, I was going to say clouds, but you'd go straight through them, and hopefully you wouldn't go through the chair. End up buying second-hand solar panels. I don't need, says Fluffy. And also, it was a damn nice looking Tier 1 for the future, says Kerr. Maybe. I mean, I do love yellow. That's the thing. If I was to get a gaming chair, it would be a yellow one. I think you guys know this already. Because yellow, it's just got a soft spot on me. It would say, mate, after World Cup, are you still doing or going to be doing this? Please keep doing sports. You're a godsend for people that are working or with poor eyesight. Thank you, lad, for doing this. Sport needs guys like you, says Dennis. We certainly are. We have got the 7 circuit that is coming just around the corner. Also, alongside that, we have got the URC, the Gallagher Premiership. We're hoping to cover some of Super Rugby Six Nations, all covered on the channel as well. And another one. Says Darren, now 5 metres out for the line. George North, almost over the try line. Now, Georgia have gone 15 minutes without conceding a try, although now Wales are getting extremely close. Another advantage. Thomas Williams, short ball. Francis goes over and gets the try. May the gaming chair gods bless you, my son. There was another one I tried to purchase at 400. That was yellow and black, but damn website required a New Zealand phone number for purchase, so I shopped elsewhere. Says Kerr. You're a very generous individual, Kerr. Like, to be honest, when I saw the gaming chair show up at the door, I was like, well, there's only one person who could have sent this, and I know I didn't accidentally buy it. And then, yeah. It didn't come with a packing slip or anything. Did you buy it from, like, the black market or something? Like, there was no piece of paper. I didn't have to sign for it. It just showed up. And it wasn't even, like, wrapped in a box. It's just, like, you could see it was a chair from the... Like, I assume there must be something on it somewhere that says where to deliver it. But yeah, I didn't see like a pack and slip or nothing. It was just, hey, cheer, here you go. F1 started yet, says Darren. I don't believe so, but once it does, I'm sure Isaac will be telling me all about it. As he is the F1 person in the Kiwi lads, I guess you could say, in terms of who watches it the most. Now, Sam Costello, first kick at the post, and it has gone over now 7-0 in favour of the Welsh. That man just pulled down his pants and showed everyone his Welsh undies. Good try after 15 minutes, though. It might be a tighter game than I thought, says Brian. And also, try, says Scrumless in there as well. Now, 17 minutes through. Okay, Warren Gatlin has said that they're not even worried about the quarterfinals. They're just worried about gaining momentum at this stage to be able to, yeah, I guess, just keep on building towards those big playoff games. At the moment for Wales, like when I predicted for them to top their pool, I don't know why I thought that that was going to be the case, because we hadn't really seen anything from Wales that said that there was going to be a reason for them to top, if that makes sense. But they did, and we did somehow predict that correct, so I guess I'll take it. I got it from the warehouse in Auckland. Oh yeah, the warehouse where everyone gets a bargain is the old sorry, I need to talk. I'm just making sounds at this stage. But that was a brilliant run from Sakhin Dadze is the name. There's some hard ones today, I tell you what. For the anthem band, I was just singing Wally Wally or Bananas in Pyjamas, says Hannes. And also he's moaning, says Aiden. And also we go, mooning, sorry, not moaning. That guy mooned us. And Hamish, mate, have you ever played rugby in your school? Yes, sorry for the weird question. I just popped up in my mind. That's not a weird question. I feel like it makes sense, but only in my primary school years. So pretty much by the time we got to high school, our teams, we just didn't really have enough players for most of them. But in primary school, I was out on the wing, hardly touched the ball throughout the season. So, yeah, I was just there to tackle, pretty much was the only thing. And eventually you get sick of that, just getting run at by the big boys. But Saganadze was the man who had the big run, breaking through a couple tackles. The man was a bulldozer, says Brian, and good morning to you. Says Fluffy, and all the way Wales keep the fire forward. Now kicked up high. Nicely taken by Rio Dyer. Yes, Sun City still exists, says Rudy. Going off to the right-hand side here for Wales, who I'm sure won't be too disappointed with this first 20 minutes. Yes, they would have liked to be a few more points ahead, I would say, of Georgia. But overall, this Georgian side, we know they're going to come out and play a hard game of rugby. And that is exactly what they are getting here. Now, nice big run from Dyer to chase after that one. Looked like there was a knock-on the ground from Kamadze, and they will now have themselves the scrum feed. Thank you for the great commentary. Drunk Kiwi from Hungary. Says BJ, are Wales offside? A lot, says Kofoy. They've certainly rushing up. But they haven't been penalised by the referee as of yet. Stepped away 2 minutes. There's a try. Was it good, says Yvonne? It was a little bit stock standard, I guess, of just getting that rolling ball close to the line and then passing it off to one of the big forwards. But yeah, Thomas Francis, great run from him to be able to drive through. What else can we send to his doorstep? Says Kerr. Well, I'm curious to know what will show up. But I will say, like, I do give you permission, if that makes sense. Like, if there's other than live animals, like maybe we don't send them. But, like, anything that is an inanimate object that does not require being fed, you can do it at your peril. No, that sounds like I'm organising a hit on you. Can you express post a Russian bride? See, she got a pulse though, or like it requires feeding, so that's why it's off the list. How do you even have his address? Says Yvonne, I've talked to Kerr quite a bit outside of the live streams, so that is why he has found my house. Now 5 metres out from the line for the Welsh once more. Nice inside border. Falatau. It's close to the touchline. Driven out and just thrown to the ground by Tabud Sadse. Like he was a man half his size. Any idea how many rugby clubs are in New Zealand? I'm just too lazy to look up Mr. Google. I think I heard somewhere that it's like 4,000. But I could be completely wrong there in that regard. Oh, where's Crumpus, or is he sleeping? Says Albert, he might be sleeping at the moment, perhaps. And I hope you're well. I've placed any juicy bets lately, winning and grinning. Says Grumless, and heatwave in the capital, cold front in South Africa, weather is wonky as heck. Says, I was here, any idea? Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And what was your prediction for this game? I think I predicted Wales to win by about 15 or somewhere around there, but there is a chance that they win by a lot more than that if they can keep this momentum flowing. Georgia, they have only conceded the one try, but they are still trapped inside of their 22. Only 500 rugby clubs. No wonder our team couldn't find enough players. Oh yeah, sorry, clubs rather than teams, isn't it? Maybe teams, there'd be over 4,000, I'd like to think. Nice backline movement. Liam Williams steps and scores the try for Wales. He was waiting patiently to go for that pass on the outside, but didn't need to in the end, as Georgia did overcommit to the man out on the wing, trying to cover Lewis Rees-Zammit. Next year is the T20 Cricket World Cup. Hopefully you can do the T20 World Cup next year. Says Monet, as long as it doesn't overlap with any rugby, because we actually found that out, I think it was last year or the year before. We did end up doing some of the T20 World Cup. We got copyright struck, and it meant that we weren't able to cover the main international rugby that was happening around the world. So we had to miss, I think it was a couple of the October games, if I'm not wrong. I think we actually ended up dressing up as Harry Potter on the Sport channel for Wales versus someone, if I'm not wrong. I think a Hippo Teddy should be next on the agenda, says Kerr. Okay. Do they make YouTube Hippo Teddies? Out of curiosity, I'd assume we could sit it on a gaming chair, transforming one, create the in real life 50-pound one. And the Irish are wearing Irish undies with the Bok printed on it. Says Style, but the kick from Costello just sneaks in the right hand post, and now making the score 14 points to 0 in favour of the Welsh. Wind is horrible here in South China Sea as well. Says Ruth. No snap isn't the cricket on at the moment. Says I was here. It certainly is. Come on, Georgie Pie. Get us some chips and a large try. Says Blues Nate. Okay. I heard the announcer mentioning something. I thought it might have been a sub, but it is just the fact that the score sits now 14-0 in favour of the Welsh. And as this game wears on, there's a chance that it is going to be just a little bit more one-sided. Anything can be made, just a question of the price. Custom Kiwi Lads Hippos, here we come, says Blues Nate. Oh, sorry, that wasn't Blues Nate, that was Kerr. And there, I would pay to see a hippo wearing a teddy, says Fluffy. And love Wales, go Boyos, it's in the bag, says David Richards. Now Thomas Williams to roll this ball back. Apparently there's real fear in South Africa that we'll see match fix against Scotland. Yeah, but the logic behind it, like when you think about it, it's flawed. Because Ireland are 2 games away from the longest winning streak in international rugby history. So to throw that away for the sake of not having to face a team that you will only have to play in the final if you face them again and you've already beaten throughout a Rugby World Cup competition seems like it's a lot to give away to not, like, or to do anything along those lines, if that makes sense. And bonus point by halftime, says Jimbo, and Wales looking good, says Yvonne. And there's now going to the right-hand side, Sam Costello passes off to George North, who gets his legs driving, tackled by Matkava. Now back to the left-hand side again to Lupe Falatau. Now to the left-hand side, Dewey Lake, the captain, breaking through his opposite numbers challenge. 25 minutes through, bonus point by halftime. See to Jimbo and also Marina Fozzi. And there as well. I feel like I missed a message from Tar earlier on, didn't I? So I do apologise, Tar, if you are still here in the chat and I did not quite see your message. I think I remember I looked at it and then I quickly looked back as they were about to score a try and then completely forgot about it. So I do apologise for that. American Polynesian from San Bernardino. I love it in your channel. It says, Ducker, thank you very much. It's madness to even think it. And Ireland would go for the win. The match fixing idea is just ridiculous. Says Brian. It is, because the thing is, it's also some of the people who I've seen saying that there's going to be match fixing are the same ones who said that South Africa lost to Ireland on purpose so they had a different side in the quarterfinals. So it's just conspiracies at this stage, I would say. And Karpai says Ta in there as well. And the Irish were on a lucky streak. It will stop here, says Star. I mean, 16 wins in a row, though. By that stage, it's starting to get beyond luck, isn't it? Like, they've beaten New Zealand twice in that streak. They've beaten South Africa twice in that streak. They've beaten France, Wales, England, Scotland. Like, they've beaten a lot of sides throughout those matches. A nice one, Hamish. It's just dumb to think suddenly Ireland will be weaker than Namibia, says Albert. And I'm at work slogging Saturday, another 3 hours to go, says Ruth. I see that Wales are actually opting to go for the 3 points here. They do know that all they need to walk away from this game in first place is going to be the winner. Mona, you make me blush. I'm just curious, does Kerr have a crush on you? Hamish rocking this commentary. Well, it would make the cruise ship very interesting, Mona, I can tell you that. Easy way to resolve conspiracy theory. How many persons have placed a bet on Scotland to win by 28? They score at least 4 tries in Ireland. To also score at least 4 tries, no one, says Gary Smith. Yeah, exactly right. Like, no one is backing that in the multi, mainly because they just feel like there's no way of it being able to happen. Hamish rocking the commentary never stops. He's Terminator of Rugby Rockers, because that's the thing. Ireland have struggled to concede 20 points throughout their last, 16 wins. And now they're expected to concede at least 41 and only score 20 themselves is like a really crazy, if it happens, people will certainly be like, right, it's definitely something going on, but I don't see it happening. The two sides have too much pride and too much respect for each other to do anything along those lines. And a Rugby World Cup as well would be the bigger thing, but nah, I don't see it happening. 40 points to Ireland, 20 to Scotland. That, to me, almost seems like the more likely score, doesn't it? It's not a cruise ship, it's a love boat, says Kerr. I saw Kerr. You guys have a driving range up top, if I'm not wrong, or a driving, golf simulator thing. Is that correct? Because I was doing a little bit of, Googling, having a look around, and I think I saw, golf simulator on the top floor, and I was all excited. Set a course for adventure, your mind on a new romance, says Fluffy, and Henshaw is out, though. Could put pressure on their back, says Annoy, although the combination in the midfield that they seem to like at the moment is Ringrose alongside Bundy Arki, so as long as both of those two don't get injured, that will be the big telling point, I would say, for the Irish. Yeah, we got a few things, says Kerr. A few. It's quite impressive. Do you guys have mango? So if you got mango, I'm going to be in heaven. Oh, rough pass from Wales, the bounce pass, but it does go backwards. Liam Williams now cleans up. Tackled just inside of their own half now, Wales. Georgia looking for that turnover, not quite able to get it. Makutadze, the man who contested. Now, it looks like they're going for the box kick here with Thomas Williams. They have Kiwi. Says Albert, let's go Scotland. And also, set a course for adventure. Your mind is a new romance. And also, Zipline, says Novmum. All knocked on by the Georgian fullback. At least I thought it was, but it is going to play on. Says the referee. Little bit of a counter-ruck there from Wales. Not able to turn it over. Lobhanidze. Back to Ninashvili. It's a high. Taken nicely from Wales. Liam Williams, he's been heavily involved throughout this game. Will you ever review Kabaddi? Hamish, that's like that. It's a sport, isn't it? You're on a cruise ship, Kerr. Says Yvonne. He certainly is south of China, I believe he said, or the South China Sea. Yep, plenty of mangoes in KwaZulu and Natal, says Sean. And Ireland's biggest problem now is going into the quarters and the semis with so few of the squad run through. Any injuries? They have people without game time coming in for big games concerning. Yeah, that's probably the big concern for the Irish because they are the only side, I believe, throughout this Rugby World Cup who haven't rotated their team heavily in terms of who they've gone with. No kids, no casinos, says Fluffy. Do they not have like a casino on a boat or like on a cruise ship? I know they have a nightclub, if I'm not wrong, but is that like a rule that, I guess, that makes sense a little bit because I guess you're gambling offshore theoretically and it's kind of like an offshore casino. I believe that the Irish midfield is their biggest risk when playing the top teams. Their cross defence has been effective up till now, but it may not hold against other Tier 1 teams, says Gary Smith, and I believe Scotland have a better chance to win than most people think, says Go Travel Planet. Yeah, I think, that's the thing. I believe it's going to be, potential of an extremely close game between those two sides, except it's just the Scotland by about 20 points is the margin that everyone's like, oh, it's a bit much. Since 2007, every Irish player who went to the Rugby World Cup got game time. Is this a year we see that an end to that, says Kerr? It could be. I'm trying to think through it, their squad, and who hasn't had a huge amount of minutes so far. And some players have only had half a game or so. And Posey not back until he beats a Tier 1 team. No, not clicking yet. And lots of mangoes in the Cayman, says Yvonne. Is there any position Ireland have not had two players in? Or two players in, says Jimbo. Liam Williams saying he kept that ball in the field of play. Touch judge disagrees. Currently 31 minutes down in this game, ladies and gents, and still 17-0 in favour of Wales. They would need 2 more tries to be able to get themselves that bonus point. And I believe that even if they get the bonus point from this game, that would be enough to secure them their spot at number 1 in this pool. Because they won their head-to-head up against the Fijians. McCloskey is the back reserve, says Hanoi. With all the teams wearing each other down, the pool stages don't write off the major surprise in the semis or the final. Says Ronald. That will be stolen ball by Wales. Almost a mistake made at the back, though. Costello is there to be able to clear his lines. Ninashvili, 40 metres out from the line now. Georgia, this is their best attacking scenario in the whole of the half. Now, Kamaladze goes out wide to Tabutsadze. He has scored a try. He actually got one up against Portugal. A quick work in the breakdown. Matkava has to clean up. Referee had to get out of the way of that tackle attempt of Tommy Reffel. Counter-ruck there from the Welsh. Georgia just managing to keep that ball in their side. I'm not sure what the most phases we have seen from Georgia throughout this game is, but it would have to be less than 5, I would say. So now big chance here for them. Start putting some phases together. Try and get back into the contest before half-time. And left once more. Gigashvili. Back across here. Georgia having to throw everything at this Welsh defence, who are coming up quite quickly. That was close to Rowlands being offside. Looks like there's another Georgian player down there. That might be Gigashvili. That's the hardest thing for Georgia at the moment. It seems to be any time they get a few phases together, they do end up with some sort of injury along the way. Now quick hands. Ninashvili trying to duck underneath Nick Tompkins. Liam Williams, he's asking for the penalty. He's been hit in the head. It's going to be the advantage though to Georgia. Now only 5 metres out from the line, digging for it was Dewey Lake, and they will go back for the original offside penalty. According to Rob Carney, it's an unwritten rule in the Irish camp. As interview midweek, he expressed the same concern, confusion, says Kerr. And also best man goes in Limpopo province, says Gary Smith. And my in-laws sold their house, goes unconditional in 10 working days. They are looking to buy within an hour of the US currently live 2 to 3 or 2.5 to 3 hours away from us, says Novom. So that'll be a big journey for them going over to the US. Oh, sorry, within an hour of yourself. Never mind, sorry, I got confused because us and capitals made me think it was like the actual US rather than, yeah. So that'll be nice having them a bit closer. Best thing about my job, I don't pay tax. Is that why I keep having things show up at my door? They're all, oh, well, I guess they're not even tax write-offs, are they? I guess you're stopping me from paying tax, theoretically, Kerr, in your ventures. But of course, outside of that, I do pay tax, ladies and gentlemen. That wasn't a sentence. My mum's an accountant, so I can't really get away with nothing. I probably pay more tax than I'm supposed to. Very sad. Great attack by Georgia, well defended by Wales. Darcy Graham will be hard to stop, says Go Travel Planet. And also red card, says Hanoi around the side of the breakdown. Georgia still within the 5 metres. Now the pick and go from Gigashvili. The forwards, they all want it. Opportunity here to close the gap around the side. This Welsh defence is strong though. It's not allowing them through, although now reaching out. Looked like a try to me. And the captain, Merab Shirakadze, has scored the first try of the match for Georgia. I gorged myself on mangoes in Lipopo. And also, someone must create a 15 of winning referee players. Or whiny referee players. Nick White, Liam Williams, Miliano Boffelli, says Ian Foster. I'm going to throw one in there. I know that it's possibly controversial, but Bongi Manambi, that man throughout the URC spent more time talking to the ref than he did actually in the breakdown. But I feel like it became kind of like a running joke on the channel in terms of the amount of time that he wasn't looking. Finley Christie's got to be the reserve 9, I would think, for that team. Tell you what, that would cause a lot of controversy if we made a video called that. 15 or top 15 or even just a whiny Rugby XV or something like that would cause problem. Make a mango leather. Delicious and easy, says Stahl. Limpopo, good for golf too, says Kerr. Oh, I do love me a bit of golf. I'm a bit weird at the moment. I feel like golf, for some reason, has taken a bit more of a chunk of my free time. And to be fair, I don't get a lot of it, but when I do, I like to head to the golf course, hit a few balls in the pond because I'm terrible, but we're getting better. Great try, Georgia. This might put a different completion on the game. Villy LaRue can play up big time. To the rest, says it was there from Albert, and LaRue would make that team and get the views, brother. Chase the bag, says Ian Foster. I tell my accountant not to ever try and save me money on tax. If he offs it, or if he F's it up, I'm in jail too, says Dylan. Someone say TJ Pettin. I feel like you could make a team of just halfbacks, couldn't you, theoretically? Now everyone who thinks Scotland can win, they should have very good odds if they put their money where their mouth is, says Mario. Well, at the moment, the way that it sits, Scotland are $5.50 underdogs, the least of the underdogs throughout this weekend for today anyway. Do you walk or use golf buggy? I do walk, and I also carry my clubs rather than on a trundler, so it's good exercise in between. And don't forget Villy LaRue, says Johan there. Now on the halfway line, Thomas Williams. Going to the right-hand side, Sam Costello goes for the chip and chase. Nick Tompkins actually taken out from his teammate, Tommy Reffel. Both ended up running the exact same line. Dan Bigger would be 10 for the whiniest XV. And Hamish, give you a prediction for tonight of Ireland versus Scotland in your prediction. I'll put it on my Super Brew. I know you we're unlucky, the early stages, mate, but I believe in you. I've got 1,000 on Scotland winning, says Kerr. Well, you'd be able to buy yourself 5 gaming chairs, Kerr, if they end up winning that game. We have mango ice cream, absolute heaven, says Surin. And also Scotland will win here, says Starling Golf. Fun day equals good company, a walk in nature, and a good score as a bonus, says Gary. That's the thing. I actually started off the other day with a birdie. Unfortunately, that's about as good as it got. So I did everything well on the first hole, and then from there it just straight down for about 3 double bogeys in a row after that, I think it was. 1,000 watt mangoes, says Fluffy, and Coles would be hooker, says annoying everyone, or hello to everyone from South Africa, says Grant. There as well. Currently 2 minutes remaining in this first half, ladies and gentlemen. I am about to sneeze, so we will hide to the side for one moment. We are good. Can we get to 37k subs today? I think we'll get close. I think we're currently, how far away are we? About 180? No, actually 150 away. Oh, that's 1,000 Great British Pound. Oh, geez, so there's like 10 or 15 gaming cheers, isn't it? In that case. Big kick downfield from Georgia. If Scotland do it, I should say a disclaimer, do not send me 15 gaming cheers. I feel like the guy in the courier van would just look at me like, bless you, says Rudy. Ireland versus Scotland draw, says Ronald. Also, we have mango ice cream, absolutely even. Hashtag visit Sri Lanka. I'd love some mango ice cream, but you don't actually have that much of it here. Kerr's got the devil emojis there as well. See, I feel like whether they win or lose, now I'm going to, there's going to be something that shows up at my door. It's either going to be good if Scotland win, or it's going to be those balls maybe if Scotland lose, which won't make sense to a few people, but we know what we're talking about. We have got, Hamish loves mango. And also, how do we send you stuff in the mail, says Dylan. Well, that's the thing. We didn't really have a P.O. box or anything like that. It's just Kerr did end up sending a few items to us in terms of like a rugby kit and whatnot at the first stage. And then also a Kiwi Lads. In fact, I've still got the bottle here as well, a little Kiwi Lads drink bottle. And Ronald a draw. Ireland go through on top. Having beaten the box, Scotland would be out. And mango is the most common food in India. Are you Indian, Hamish? Says it was there from Ian. Not that I know of. Anyway, I don't think in the ancestry DNA test there was much Indian come through. Has there ever been extra time in a World Cup final? Oh. Now that is a trivia question that I should know the answer to, but I don't think I do. Having a mango smoothie right now, says Rudy. I sent him some mango ice cream. And Georgia to score next, and I have weird and wonderful ways, says Kerr. And also, how many times do you sneeze? I look like 10. I do it twice, says Grant. Yeah, normally I think there was like a three rounder, so not too bad. And yes, 1995 extra time, says Rudy there. Of course, South Africa versus New Zealand. And that one, Wales is getting the 50-50s, says Hanoi. In 2003 as well, says Gus. Posty would lick it, says Fluffy. The mango ice cream, currently almost half time in this contest. Ladies and gentlemen, as soon as we have some sort of drop ball, or maybe a try, imagine if Georgia scored now, that would certainly heat up the second half. Mango smoothie sounds good, says Brian. And tried getting mango sent and honestly never imagined it would be so difficult. Something I will revisit though, says Kerr. Because you mentioned that it would be easier to send a mango tree than it would be to send a mango. Or something along those lines, wasn't it? That is quite interesting. But yeah, mangoes are hard to get. Talupe Falatau, high tackle there. Should be an advantage, but they might say because the Georgian player was running quite low to the ground, he might not end up penalised. I can't just do a supermarket order. Our supermarkets don't have mango at the moment, unfortunately. Although we have like Ecuadorian. I believe there was a neck roll there from the Georgians in the breakdown, so no Wales. Going to have, it's number 6. They will tap that one, kick it into touch halftime now. In this contest, it is going to be 17 points to 7, so maybe a little bit closer than some anticipated for this contest. We have got there, if you watch Chris Hansen to Catch a Predator, it's pretty funny. Says Hanoi, I think me and George were going to do a reaction video on that a while ago, but we didn't end up doing it. I think we just ended up watching it. Mate, looks like you need a French maid there. So the dusting might stop them sneezing. I'll tell you what I did find earlier on though. It was a big whitetail spider on the wall just before this live stream. So I had the scenario how it was like, right, if I do the live stream, that's 2 hours that spider's got to play hide and seek in my house. So spider, we fixed the scenario. I won't say how, but let's just say that spider is either living its best life outside or not living. But yeah, spider gone, which is good. Because those ones, they bite. They're little buggers, as some people would say. We have got there, I need your prediction on the main. Oh yeah, that's right. I was supposed to get that. I have my phone open as well because I was going to find my result. Because I will actually stick with what I went with at the start of the competition because one of my predictions was only 1 point off, which I feel like I'm pretty happy about. Are they a bad news, says Hanoi. I didn't know whitetails are in New Zealand too, and I need to wait 2 more years before I can pick avocado. Already waiting 5 years, says Grant. Tell you what, that is commitment and patience, isn't it? Because you'd just be so tempted to test one, see how they go, but you got to wait. It's that little bit longer. Queensland Mangoes, Juicy Rich, says Blues Nate. Yes, wet winter. And Queensland Mangoes not like got plenty on my mango tree, not posting it. Says Fluffy. And also it's confirmed Wales have been paid, or have paid the IRB this World Cup. Their full pass was ridiculous, says Philippines. And yep, could send a tree easily enough. Weird, says Kerr. Yeah, I don't know whether a mango tree would actually grow in New Zealand, depending on whereabouts you are. You'd have to, I guess if you had it next, maybe if you put it next to a fence, because then you get some heat radiating off that fence as well, perhaps throughout summer. But it would be a hard fought mango if you got one off it, I would say. And also, with a nice red wine, says Kerr, and patience grants give them good vibes, says Derek. And also mango chutney on cheddar cheese, says Ruth. But my prediction for Ireland versus Scotland, what did I go with? This will be interesting. Oh, I went Ireland 27, Scotland 19 at the start of the World Cup. So Ireland by 8. Could buy a greenhouse too. I mean, that's one way of fixing it, I guess. Yep, the greenhouse would I guess it would work a little bit. Although, would it get warm enough in like the winter months here in New Zealand to keep the tree alive? Maybe. Hard to say. And I want mine too, says Mikhail. Yeah, currently a half-time in this game, ladies and gentlemen. 17 points to 7 in favour of the Welsh. I should mention we have got another live stream just around the corner, that being England versus the other team, which is Samoa in that contest. Too wet for mangoes there, says Fluffy, and mangoes need a tropical climate, says Sean. And Oz, does victory to Wales guarantee Oz is out, says Ed. It actually doesn't, believe it or not. So Australia, they still have a chance of making their way through if Fiji don't receive one bonus point, or at least 1 point from their game up against Portugal. Bisco Wales, says David, and damn it, now I want a mango. Get somewhere to go grocery shopping later, says Yvonne. Our greenhouse works beautifully in winter, says Star. And Go Samoa, says Grant. So that is the second game that we have got today, ladies and gents. And then the last game is Ireland versus Scotland, which is a massive one. Close out the day. But we've seen Gareth Thomas and Liam Williams, the 2 try scorers for the Welsh. And then the 1 try being scored by Georgia, that being their captain, Mira Shirakadze. I've got from Hanoi. Could you do a live stream lying down in bed if you adjust the green screen in case you get tired? I mean, theoretically, yes. Would we do it? Probably not in that case. Because I know that people do like sleeping streams and whatnot, how they have the camera on them while they're sleeping, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to do that. Because, for one, I just wouldn't stop talking, so then I wouldn't actually sleep. I'd just end up being up all night. But yeah, I feel like it would be a weird one, because you don't know what you do in your sleep until you've like seen it, and normally you don't see it because people don't normally film you while you're sleeping. Oh, you'll be commentating the garden show, highlighting the mango growing competition? I hope so. I hope that would be a venture that we can go down. Visit South Africa, a good braai followed by succulent South African fruits in the summertime, absolute heaven, says Gary Smith. And Hamish needs a chair with reclining and massage functions, says Kerr. The fella from the courier van's just going to keep on showing up being like, this guy's got like way too much either free time or way too much money to just be buying random chairs each and every week. But we looked at a massage here, me and George. We went to Smith City, which some of you guys may not know. Even the ones in New Zealand may not know. Or it's called Smith's now, because Smith City, I think, went bankrupt. But they changed the name. And the chair looks like you just kind of get consumed by it. But I don't know how it would work, because I guess it just shakes you and tries to make you, like, I guess, warmer. But yeah, it looked like you actually would get sunk into it and you kind of just get locked into position, which would be quite intimidating, I would think. A Kiwi OnlyFans, says Philippines. I don't think we'll be going down that venture anytime soon that I know of. We can make this a mango drinking game, says Grant. And yeah, Georgia, says Eugene. Yeah, they've done decently throughout that first half, only down by the 10 points, still with a decent chance of making their way. Smith's is where I tried to order, but they needed the phone number, says Kerr. They're a bit weird, I'll be honest. Because, wait, no, is Smith's the one that used to be Smith City or Dick Smith? Because Dick Smith also went bankrupt. Or, they went under liquidation. So you don't want to be having Smith in the name of your business by the sounds of it. But yeah, they do seem to be slightly different. Harvey Norman's another one in New Zealand that me and George visit quite often. I'm off to find some commentary on the game, says Circuits. Hopefully you can find some, but yeah, it's currently half time. So I don't think there'll be too much information going about. Where's the Springbok playing and what team, says Samuel? So at the moment, the more likely game for the Springboks is going to be taking place here. So that will be 8 a.m. on Monday morning, New Zealand time, next week up against France. The other game that they could find themselves in is this one up against New Zealand, depending on how results go in that group. But yeah, more than likely it will be France versus South Africa. That will be a 9 p.m. kickoff on Sunday night, South African time, and we will of course be live for that game alongside England versus Fiji, which does seem to be the other game that could be shaping up for that pool. We've got their poor kicking allowed Georgia to get back into this. Wales have pinched a couple of lineouts, so use the touchline. And yeah, currently we're seeing some pretty decent running from Sanganadze. And number 7, time for a quick spoke, says Ta. And anyway, so Wednesday I was allowed to text Jess using a friend's phone that knows her, says Aiden. I feel like I missed the first message of that one, didn't I? And we have also got there, I definitely didn't Google Dix, says Kerr. And we're in a recession, bro. Tough times, been tough decisions, says Philippines. And also definitely too much, buddy, says Yvonne. And there as well. Let's bring out the Fantas, bro. You deserve it, says Aiden. I don't think I've had a Fanta in a very long time. In fact, I think the last time I had a Fanta was probably when we were on Livestream and we had one. That was 9 months ago or something like that, though. And Box are well rested to beat France/New Zealand, and Ireland will be tired, says Annoy. And I went to school with the Dick Smith. He was well named. And not a bad first half for Georgia. If they score first in the second half, we're in for a contest, says Brian. We certainly will be. And the stats don't actually say that Georgia are completely out of this contest. Will Allen's having to make the most tackles with 104 running metres for Liam Williams. But only 50 less running metres for Georgia, and actually beating 2 more defenders than we saw in terms of the Welsh attack. The lineout has been where Georgia have struggled. At the moment, sitting 4 from 7 throughout this game. What's the weather like over there? Says Dennis, at the moment we are sitting 3 degrees Celsius. So it's a bit chilly, unfortunately. But it's almost supposed to be summer. But it seems like we're still not quite there as of yet. So hopefully, yeah, in the future we do get a bit of the summer weather at some point soon. All right, we will go like this. We'll go like that. There we go. And also we have got there, no, Fiji need just 1 bonus point or a win. See Australia knocked out. Says Apex and 34 degrees Celsius in Pretoria. Mangoes or Fanta and mango ice cream spider. And summer weather is coming in February. Says Kerr. Very true. Hopefully it is nice. The early stages of Feb for the exciting venture. Tell you what, I still have to get into shape for that, so that I can actually do a bit of rock climbing rather than just being at the bottom of the wall going, oh, I want to climb this, but I can't. Physically don't have the strength. Although cricket season, just around the corner. I think we're starting cricket next week, which is concerning because we've got 6 players. So if anyone lives in my area and you want a game of cricket, do let me know. I don't think there'll be many watching who live in the area at this time of the day, though, because it's currently 2:50. I enjoy your commentary. Keep it up, says Charles. Thank you very much. And I should mention, just a little bit away from the second half starting up, we are starting our Samoa versus England live stream at 4:15 New Zealand time. So that is in an hour and 20 minutes time. So be sure to check that out as well. It's 35 in Pretoria. See, that's the thing. 3 degrees hasn't felt as cold as it used to, which is weird. I'll pay, I just need to feed me. Or I'll play, you just need to feed me, says Fluffy. Aren't you located up north though, Fluffy? So I'd have to say that we probably wouldn't be able to pay for your your flights or your driving or anything like that. But like, I'll feed you, I'll give you a Powerade. They normally keep people going for a while, don't they? I'm a part of New Zealand You Live In. I am in South Canterbury, so normally not many people are about. And like, yeah, we're going to be probably short a couple players, but that's all right. We'll just have to bring in some international players, won't we? Kimberley, Wales. I was trying to say that one of my friends I just made knows Jess Sergis. He allowed me to text her on his phone. We a cheeky protein bar, says Kerr in there as well. And I'll post myself from Brisbane, says Fluffy. Yeah, might be a bit far away, isn't it? But I am hoping that the earliest we play is not next week, but the week after. Because if that happens, that would be quite nice. Because then we have less games that we are covering on the weekend. But like doing the quarterfinals alongside playing cricket, she's going to be a tough weekend. But it's just what we've done throughout this World Cup anyway. On paper, Ireland is by far the stronger team and should win easy. This game is not played on paper, says Ronald Edwards. Very true. And Scotland are going to be in it for the fight because at the end of the day, their World Cup depends on it. We've had a couple other teams who have been in that scenario where they've wanted to try and put on the big performance because they needed a win, the likes of Italy, but they just didn't quite show up. I feel like Scotland are the type of side, though, that will come into this contest with a lot of passion and a lot of determination to walk away with a victory. I live overseas, but my old man lives in Rolleston. Says Philippines there, and I'm off to stock up. Where'd that go? Stock up for the game tonight. Best of luck to the two teams. Hope it's a brilliant game. Whoever wins, says Dennis there as well. Mango Juice the best, says Grant. And also Georgia could have scored before halftime. Bad mistake by that neck roll guy, says the New Age. Yeah. And I feel like Georgia overall, like as long as they get their discipline right in the second half, they can be competitive throughout this game. Any questions you want me to ask her when I meet her in 3 weeks? Says Aiden, I'll be honest, I actually don't know who it is. Like, I know you mentioned her name, but that name did not ring a bell, which I feel very bad for. Definitely if she's rugby related, but Sergis, like the first thing I thought of for some reason was like a rally driver. That's probably because of Sergio. We need to send pics on Discord. I had some gorgeous Wagyu steak, Kobe the other day, says Kerr. Wagyu seems very fancy, doesn't it? Like, I'm one of those people, this sounds bad, but like a ribeye is almost like, I'm like, geez, that's a fancy cut of meat. Like, anything fancier than that, I'm like, this seems like it's too good to be eaten. And also, what sport did you do the best in? Probably cricket. Although I did end up giving it up when I was about 11 or 12, so I was in the South Canterbury representative side or the developmental team when I was younger, but I ended up giving up cricket just because it was harder and harder to find a team, mainly because being in a small town, I was going to have to travel to be able to play, and then ended up not going through with it. Ship it through DHL, container of mangoes, says Blues Nate, who's the first try scorer. Bro, the first try scorer of that first half was actually Thomas Francis, so that would have been a player that not many people would have predicted to score first. In the second half, we haven't really seen Lewis Rees-Zammit, so I'd assume that he's got something big coming for him in the near future. But now the second half is back underway, ladies and gents. Georgia will be kicking it off long into the 22 of the Welsh now. Talupe Faletau. I'll be honest, that was almost one of his first runs that we have seen from him. Only 3,000 roughly cattle a year qualify to be sold as Kobe beef. Also, Kobe's like even fancier than Wagyu, is it? I feel like it would be a weird thing, wouldn't it? In terms of like, oh, you're part of the 3,000. You made the cut of the fancy cows, but the cows wouldn't even know it. They'd just be chilling, wouldn't they? But I wonder what qualifies you to be a fancy cow. Questions that we ask in the middle of the night. But currently on the halfway line, Georgia be kicked in behind by the looks of it by Lapanidze. I would have liked to see Georgia run this one a little bit more, definitely because they are inside of the Welsh half, but going for the box kick instead into the 22. Wales take the mark. They'll relieve a little bit of the pressure, although taking the quick tap now for Thomas Williams towards the touchline. Wagyu is from Kobe in Japan, says Kerr. So he gave cricket up last week. Says Rudy, no, not quite. No, I'm a bit older than 12, aren't I? Yeah, I'll be an old-looking 12-year-old, that is for sure. That sounds weird. And hi, everyone. So excited for the Scotland versus Ireland game. If I'm not mistaken, it's 6 or 7 criteria that needs to be met, says Kerr. And go Georgia, fight to the end, says Eugene. Number of spots on the cow, says Rudy. And meat is meat. The only difference to me is if it's organic or not. And also, Kobe Beef throws good 3-pointers, says Fluffy. Now, line-out throw. I do see that Georgia have made the replacement at hooker for the second half. In fact, I believe their whole front row might have been replaced here for the Georgians. Sit in. 30 metres out. Mirab Shirakadze, the one-try scorer. Is it not your birthday in a couple of months? It is. You've got a very good memory, Kurt. Early December. I think, to be honest, I don't actually know what I'm doing for my birthday. I think the Sevens is on, Dubai 7, so I'll probably be doing all-nighters covering that. And then probably get to celebrate my birthday the week after. Maybe, if I'm not wrong. Now, Ninashvili. Off to Shirakadze. Could be cattle, corn-fed and massage daily. Second, if I'm right, you are indeed, yes. Ahmed Carver having to play half-back, loose ball. Wales cleaning up north. Goes off to Lewis Rees-Salmon. The man who I mentioned didn't get a lot of the ball in the first half. He will score the first of the second. And that is going to be a nice run-in try off the intercept. Plenty of space opening up. And Lewis Rees-Salmon scores early. Playing cricket in the south of the South Island this time of year is nuts. Sleet and pocket warmers, says Fluffy. And those cows earn their patches, bro. 1%er, says Blues Nate. And also cue the dancing ladies at the doorstep, says Kirk. I was about to say, can that be ordered in terms of online? But I assume you can order most things online if you look hard enough. Tell you what, George will want to be around for that day, won't he? A good quality rump or fillet, if properly aged and then prepared blue, just the tastiest Colby beef, says Gary. I have to agree with you, but we're in for a great display of rugby. Scotland versus Ireland, says Stormy, and that kick has gone over. I should mention as well from the Welsh, so that now makes the score 24 points to 7. They need one more try to confirm themselves their spot in their quarter-final. And that will be up against the winner of Argentina versus Japan. Feed cows mangoes, they taste sweeter. Hamish, it's the Russian bride they've ordered for you. Says it was there from Albert, and also I did well in a boys sport too, shooting. Says Landy Bear. I don't think I've ever been clay ball shooting, or clay bird shooting, sorry. I've done the one in like the range with the, I think it was the 22 shooting. I've done better at archery than I have at actually like other, like, I guess, weapon ventures. Although archery sucks when you get it wrong because you sling it straight into your arm and then you just get a big bruise right in the middle. We have got their Kerr, red wine, and stilettos fluffs here, says Roof, inside of their 22 now for Wales. They have got the penalty advantage as well here. Looks like Gareth Thomas asking for a penalty against Shishvili. Some sort of neck roll / just playing him off the ball. Thomas Williams now going to be rolling that ball back for the Welsh once more. Good distance on that one. Nicely taken by Ninashvili. I have to say he's recovered extremely well from that early head knock that he did take, or the landing on the back of the neck. Costello knocks it on now. Knocked on after it went backwards. Will the Springboks be playing France next week? That is the more likely matchup that could be taking place. And I should mention, if that is the case, we will be doing our prediction of the Springboks lineup a little bit later on in the weekend. Probably about, actually it will be early next week, Monday or Tuesday, that will be coming out. More than likely Monday night, South African. If that would be great in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, says Kerr. And short answer is yes, says Ronald. And also that is what I predict, says Gary Smith. So yeah, it does seem like the more likely affair to be taking place. And also I need to make some Milo, says Chronic Underachiever. A little bit of a push there early from Gigashvili. So he's the one out of the 3 who has not been subbed, but they have brought on Kakadze as well as Abduladze as the other man for the Georgians. Only 3 tries for Wales. Like I mentioned, if they get one more point, they have confirmed their spot in the quarterfinals as the number 1 ranked side. Getting busy in the shop, all foreign students and dancing to Santana. I once was addicted to Milo. Says Albert. I don't think I've had a Milo in probably since a school camp in about year 8. I feel like I'm missing out. That is going to be the free kick now for Georgia. Pushing on the angle, I believe it was. Early push, in fact, it is. So Georgia might consider another scrum. What kind of shot? Says Kerr. And made the provincial shooting team with rifle shooting. And then R4 against Army team took silver. Says Landy Beard. Nice. Doing very well. And Santana, some great riffs. Says Gary Smith. And mangoes fed beef. I would decrease methane emissions too. Says Fluffy. Is it normal? Are there no wind in France? Says Samuel. Yeah, there's only 6 kilometres or something along those lines for this game. And it's about 25 degrees Celsius, I think I saw. But now a knock on. It's just the little moments for Georgia at the moment that are hurting. Can't imagine what the Milo detox is like. Kia Bros says Fluffy. And Fuff Shaw has legs for Rocky. Says Landy Bear. Just knocked on. Looking up at where he wanted to run to. Makotadze. Is Jamie Roberts. The man's chin has its own postcode. That's very mean. I shouldn't say that, should I? But he's got a good face on him, Jamie Roberts. In terms of when he was playing for... Well, he's been at quite a few teams recently. He actually had a season for the Waratahs in Super Rugby Pacific. Now he's been doing a bit more of the commentary side of things. Knock on there from Thomas Williams at the back of the scrum. And now the scrum beat for Georgia at this point of the match. We have got there France versus our Springboks. I'm ready for our boys. I'll break some French hearts, says Stormy. Yeah, there is still a chance, a very fine chance, but still a chance that New Zealand could be the side facing South Africa in the quarterfinals. That would be a massive game. If that was the case, that is what some people have predicted will be the World Cup final. Although Ireland's name is thrown into the hat as well. Roberts looks like Desperate Dan from the Beano comics, says Kerr. Oh, okay, they are going to be taking off. It is Mikatadze now. And also, what about grilled chicken breast with mangoes on top and garlic bread, says Ruth. I've recently been getting decent-ish at grilling chicken breast. Or like just cooking chicken breast in general. A little bit of garlic and herb seasoning. People now Googling Desperate Dan, says Kerr. Yeah, I have a whole heap of chicken in my fridge. That is good for in between live streams because I can pretty much just eat it without having to heat it up. Of course, I cook it first, I should clarify, rather than eating it raw. That's too much movement. At scrum time, mate, what happens tomorrow if Scotland wins tomorrow by a bonus point and Ireland loses without any points? I believe that would then mean that with the way that that table sits, one moment, we'll go like this, and we'll go like this. This is the way that the table sits currently. So theoretically, if Scotland win with a bonus point and Ireland do not get a bonus point, that would actually mean that Ireland are the side that miss out in that group. So there is a lot on the line for Scotland. At the end of the day, like a lot of people are talking about how can Scotland knock the Springboks out of this competition. But if Scotland win that game by 8 and receive the bonus point, they knock Ireland out of this Rugby World Cup competition. So yeah, it's a big game and it is just around the corner, only less than 5 hours away from that contest taking place. And we will, of course, be covering it on the channel after England versus Samoa. Chicken stuffed with haggis with a mango puree, says Kerr there. No suit and tie today. Hamish says Stormy, not yet. It is coming out a little bit later on. You have to stream a Bry one Saturday for all your subscribers. Says Rudy, it was an idea that we had for after the Rugby World Cup, doing like a barbecue just out on the decking, and then have some sort of live stream alongside that where we cook a whole heap of random barbecue food. So slightly brine, but slightly just, yeah, we only got a barbecue here, sadly, rather than the braai. Scotland get bonus point win and Ireland get losing bonus point. I'll finish on 15 points, says Kerr there. So yeah, points differential I think comes into it a little bit, and then also head-to-head is what they judge it off first. But I think all three of those sides would be in a triangle scenario for who has beaten who, so it makes it a little bit trickier. That's going to be now penalty to Georgia. the moment, Matthew Raynell having to make a lot of decisions when it comes to the scrum. Collapse in the scrum. Gareth Thomas, the man who's gone down. This looks like a relatively serious injury here. I want to say, who was that? Was that Gigashvili? Who is still down, and ABs are scared to play Ireland, says Jan. I don't think that's the case. I think that they're excited for the challenge of taking on the Irish, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of rights, or there's a lot of wrongs that the All Blacks have to try and get right in that game against Ireland. And I mentioned about it, if Ireland do get their selection right, which they have throughout this Rugby World Cup, they will be a tough side to beat. If New Zealand can get their selection right, that will be the one thing that could help them big time. And that game in Scotland need to win by about 21 points tonight. Ireland, for South Africa going to be out, not happening. Basically matches a playoff between Scotland and Ireland. Says Ronald there, pretty much, yeah. I feel like the chances of Scotland knocking out the South Africans and then Ireland going through as well, it's going to be extremely tricky. Can we say at this point, big shout out to Fiji? We certainly can, although, of course, they still need that one game up against, that 1 point up against the Portuguese, and I hope that they are able to get it. They are a side that have shown a lot of grit and determination throughout this Rugby World Cup. Oh, that's a decent pass from the youngster who got the ball from the touchline. The crowd enjoying his pass. Wales just getting that ball back 5 metres out from their line. AU as well. How's it going? A long time no speak. Amelia, I hope you're good, sis. And there, and also hi, Molan Rogue. I was really good. I ended up having another panic attack after the show, so sorry to hear that, Amelia. At top of the morning, Hamish, a bit late, but getting the coffee. And let's get these games in, says Audio. And yeah, I should mention we've got 3 games back-to-back tomorrow. After this game is finished, we have only got, I believe it is 13 games remaining in this Rugby World Cup, which is incredible to think that we've covered 35 already in this Rugby World Cup. Like, the weeks have flown by. We're already almost at Christmas. So I hope everyone's got their Christmas shopping all planned out so they're ready to go. 427 decent score to chase, says Landy Bear. Yeah, massive total put on by the South Africans. I want mango cheesecake. Is that a thing? If there's a mango cheesecake somewhere in the world, I will have to find it, because they certainly do not have it where I am. But that could just be because I'm from a small town as well. And try Hamish. Wales go Dragon, says Roof. Now line out throw for the Georgians once more. Vano, Kakadze throws it in nicely, slapped back by Georgia, currently on the 22. Shirakadze driving hard to look by Faletau. That looked like a really awkward, head knock there for the number 23. Almost looked like he tried to bite the top of Tuluk by Faletau's head, although not on purpose. Just make one, Hamish. You are trusting that I have, baking abilities, Gareth, there, though. Make it on Livestream could be an idea. Trying to make a mango cheesecake. Anyone who's just subscribed for the rugby, and they get notifications of Kiwi lads try to make mango cheesecake, will be very confused in the corner. Nah, he's in touch. Tabut Sadse got close to scoring, just driven out, though. The time is now turned off. Random thought, Kiwi lads should do a rugby musical, although the problem with that is I can't sing, and I also don't have a lot of ability in terms of the guitar, more than 2 songs. Oh, hang on. I think he's off the ground here. His leg did go down. Mango cheesecake is definitely a thing. Cheesecake is doable, says Gus. It's easy to make, Hamish, says Mikhail. I made him mango cheesecake, says Fluffy. I was able to buy a drink at the place without being ID'd. I pre-ordered a Jack and Coke for intermission. It was really nice. When the Springboks are in the final, will you wear a Springbok tie, Hamish, says Stormy? I probably won't, because it will be green, and that would mean that it will disappear on the green screen, so you guys wouldn't be able to enjoy seeing that tie as much if you can't see it, if that makes sense. I also got a haircut, says Amelia. And I also go to bed, says Jimmy O'Brien. But Jimmy, we've got a game around the corner between Ireland and Scotland. That's going to be an epic one. Also, Samoa versus England. That is starting up in 1 hour's time. Our live stream is, that is. We've got 30 minutes build up for that contest. Looking through at all the results we've had of Pool D so far and what is to come for Pool D. Because, of course, there is Japan versus Argentina. That will determine the other side that make their way through. A mango and cheese will make my stomach erupt. I would detonate. Says Chronic, and mangoes are the devil's fruit. Says Hadron. I like them. They're quite nice. As long as you don't get a stringy mango, you're good. Now, I almost said Mango kicking it downfield, but I meant Wales, of course. Now Tabasadze breaking through again for the Georgians. Finds the pass on the outside. Seems like the second half with it happening have really started to up the tempo here. Georgian Saladadabi from was Lophanidze. Oh, they're going back though. I think it's for a bit of obstruction. Yes, it is. I'll build up my musical program collection. Find other musicals that I may discover and like. And also, Hamish King of the commentators. You will need something to measure some ingredients. Perfect measures are the key in bakery. Says Mikhail, and red velvet cake is the best, says Dylan. And also, England have had a free so far, don't you think? Says Chronic. I mean, it's one of those ones though. Like for England, they just have taken what they've been given. If that makes sense. It's like the ones who say about how Pool A, like New Zealand, have only really been tested by France. And I mean, it's a fair statement, but like they can't not play the teams in their pool, if that makes sense. And whether or not that helps them in the future games or not will be determined in those quarterfinals and the semis and whatnot, whether or not they are underprepared for the big contest up against the top sides or whether they are fresh because they haven't been challenged and they are then able to thrive. Downfield, Georgia taking it outside of their 22. Now Lophanidze, once again, looking to possibly go to Matkavo, who's back in the pocket. In fact, I believe it's Ninashvili who is positioned behind. I won't find mango cheesecake in the Edmonds cookbook. I've been at home trying to recharge, going to Melbourne United versus Tasman Jack Jumpers today, says Amelia. So that is the basketball, isn't it? I've seen that advertised a little bit here in New Zealand. Now, nice quick hands, Liam Williams getting driven backwards by this Georgian defence, the midfield combo. Now, having to play half as Thomas Williams. Wales are doing really good so far in this Rugby World Cup. Says Jeffrey, yeah, they've been doing extremely well. Oh, everyone stop talking about mangoes. Mangoes don't deserve such conversations, says Adrian. And also, Hamish, have you had tried out for a commentating job in sports? I have not, no. I feel like there's still quite a bit that I should learn in the commentary side of things. Plus, I haven't been to broadcasting school or anything like that, so they probably wouldn't consider me, mainly because I don't have the qualifications alongside it. So everyone expects Scotland to go home. Is there any team from the other side of the pools you think would have qualified in Pool B if they swapped with Scotland? Says Kerr. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like Italy as the third team in Pool A, I don't see them as a side that would have done well. Fiji or Australia in this case, not off their current form. So yeah, Scotland, I mean, they always had it up against them, I would say, for this Rugby World Cup draw. Nepotism works, mate. Says Chronically Humans Cookbook was my nana's book. Says a Blues Nate there as well. How's that Welsh scrum holding up there, boys? It's actually struggling a little bit. Georgia, we know how physical their forward pack is. I know you're good. Have our comments be your reference, says Landy Bear. And also, by the time mangoes get to Ireland, there is fibre filled as raw carrots. You have the channel as a portfolio, says Gus. Yeah, although it seems to be the mainstream side of things, they don't look at that type of thing. I know that 2 Cents Rugby, he actually applied for a media pass a while ago for Super Rugby to help cover like the Blues games and whatnot, and they pretty much said no. Even though he had his YouTube channel that was proof that he had done quite a bit in terms of growing rugby and everything along those lines, but they don't like the outsiders, if that makes sense, of the guys who haven't had to, I guess, cut their teeth in the business, if that makes sense. Kind of sounds like the professional wrestling business, doesn't it? I feel like no other side would have changed the outcome of Pool B, but fairly sure Scotland would be in the quarters if they were in Pool C or D. Yeah. And Anna would have whipped me with the kettle cord if I asked her to make mango cheesecake, says Fluffy. There's no foul play against Abuladze, so it is going to be play on now. And Georgia, I believe, have got themselves the penalty, I want to say, or it might just be a scrum, in fact, in this case. But a couple more subs being made. Now, I should mention Dan Bigger coming off the bench for the Welsh due to the injury of Sam Costello. Due to the injury of Gareth Anscombe in the warm-ups. Meant that Costello made his way into the starting side, and Dan Bigger is off the bench with the kettle cord. Says Kerr, tell you what, that would be painful as well, wouldn't it? Now what the ABs do against Scotland, I think it would be a good game of rugby. I hope we get to see it next year, because I think, if I'm not wrong, it's been a good 3 years or so, maybe even 4 years since the last Scotland All Blacks tour. We saw Ireland last, actually England's tour might be coming up. Possibly. That's a great kick for the corner there, 5 metres out from the line now. And it is going to be a line out for the Georgians at this point. Disfavour from Rugby Admins as a mark of distinction, says Gus. And is this cooking show, says Ian? No, we can't cook, unfortunately. We can cook the basics, but not really the fancy stuff. Loban Nedse now taken off the field for Georgia. I believe they've made a majority of their subs now. I mentioned about the last 20 minutes is normally the tough stage of a match for the Georgians. I know now this rolling ball working very nicely. Kakadze moves within 2 metres. Bit of work in the breakdown from, it was Wales, but it was illegal actually in through the side. The referee has said so. Now the penalty advantage in favour of Georgia. Sakhanadze now looking to use this one around the side of the breakdown still with penalty advantage. The Georgians half an inch off getting their second try, I believe. They go around this side. They should get there, and they do as well. The penalty is given for the Georgians, and they are back into the contest now. Tell you what, he's fired up at the moment. The big man, Vanu Kakadze, scoring for Georgia. They are a little bit closer. Andy has said me. And also, it's time that people that broadcast sports realise things are changing. Are you on channel proof of that? And what time are we at now? Says Curso, at the moment, we are at 59 minutes in this game. So it is just before we normally see that little bit of a drop-off in the intensity of Georgia. But I think with that try, that has almost ramped them up to that next level that they want go just that little bit harder throughout this next 10 minutes, because they are only one converted try and something away from a draw here. Now, a draw does not favour them, I should mention. The only way that they can change the result of this group is going to be if we see no more tries from Wales and a win for the Georgians. Why haven't you gone whitebaiting on the West Coast? I have not been whitebaiting in general. I went carwai fishing not last month, probably a couple months ago. That was quite a bit of fun. A lot of carwai about. That's it. Georgia says Stormy, the kick is over as well. So now 24 points to 14 in favour of the Welsh still. Cooking and rugby goes together in South Africa always, says Stull. Westport Fritters, says Fluffy. You can see how much it means to this Georgian side. They want to finish their Rugby World Cup competition off with a bang. I'm just going to look at my prediction for what I said the score would be in this game. I mentioned about that Scotland-Ireland contest and our prediction for it. We had it that Ireland were going to win by 8. In this game between Georgia and Wales, I actually went with, I went a bit low. Wales 15, Georgia 12. But I said this game would be split by 3. And at the moment, there is a decent chance we see that if Georgia are able to score themselves one more try. Pretty much, Gareth. How you, buddy? Hope it's all good on your side. And they played this half in Wales 22. Another penalty this time going the way of the Georgians in through the side. See, the frustration is starting to come onto the faces of the Welsh players. They played inside of the Wales 22 other than the interception. Yeah, that interception try may have been a little bit more crucial than first anticipated for Wales. Good day, all. See Georgia doing well, says Ockert. Try Mountain Oysters. I have not, no. And I don't know whether I would or not, to be honest. Karate Kid, Gerard Kutsia, just picked up a wicket, says Gareth there. And bollocks, says Fluffy. That is what Mountain Oysters are, indeed. And also, Wales look like a semi-final team, says Chronic. It's going to be thrown in nicely by Georgia, who are 40 metres out. Shirakadze already scoring 1 try throughout this contest for the Georgians. Wouldn't mind another one, and that would certainly close the gap. We have got there, just noticed that Blues has a blue name. It's through again. Ninashvili scores the try for Georgia. The comeback is on, ladies and gents. Now, I should still mention, it cannot mean theoretically, there's no chance of Wales missing out on the quarterfinals. They are already through. But there is a chance that they end up playing England in the quarterfinals rather than taking on the Argentines or the Japanese, depending on this result. I'm pretty much flabbergasted, I think is the best way of pretty much saying that. And Wu says, Dylan, game on. And also Georgia fanning the Six Nations relegation debate. And yeah, he's got a blue spanner and a blue badge. That makes me happy, says Kerr there. And 25% back Georgia to win. So some hard out there. Now what's happening, Wales, says Gareth. And we've got a game now, says Stormy. It is Ninashvili who scores the try now for the Georgians. Definitely making the semis, says Kronika. Well, Georgia, says Stahl. They are now within 5. And also we have got there, oi, why aren't you a mods, Kerr? Let me scull a few. Yeah, we were supposed to make Kerr a mod last time, weren't we? I think we were going to have like a ceremony. But then we had to make sure that Kerr, do you want to be a moderator on the channel? Do let me know. Oh, the kick is missed away to the left, which does still put Wales ahead by 5. And yes, Georgia play till the final whistle, says Stormy. And yeah, I mentioned how the last 20 minutes. Oh, I can't donate if I'm on the board of directors, says Kerr. Yeah, I guess it would be like an inside job, wouldn't it? Although Nate does, he's the inside man, isn't he, in terms of the donations. And Kerr's the outside sponsor, or the outside investor, I guess you could say. And well done, Georgia. This is interesting. You're almost there, Georgia, says Eugene. Currently inside of there, 22. George North trying to hold the players up. They've said it was 17-0 in the second half. Georgia didn't come here to F around, says Grumless, and they look so happy, says Yvonne, as they should be. They are right in this game. Not a great mindset being shown. We have good 15 to 18 players. Not much more, says Saturday Player. It's a great kick downfield as well. I love how this is not only a Rugby World Cup enforced mathematics lessons for adults years after school, says Landerbeer. Tell you what, at the time that they made it head-to-head rather than just points differential, like, that just made it extremely confusing in terms of who goes through. Like, everyone knew the points differential type of thing. Like, you need this to be able to go through. But with the losing bonus points all in play, like, Wales still need one more try. Even if they lost this game, one more try would mean that they're playing the winner of England. Oh, that's a penalty. Oh, and if Wales go for the 3 here, that would give them enough of a lead to be ahead by more than 7. Yes, the green name annoys me, because sailors are very superstitious. Green is an unlucky colour for us, so blue would be nice, says Kerr. And there as well, we can certainly change that one moment. We'll go like this. Go like this. Tell you what, that would have been a misclick, wouldn't it? The button above add as moderator is hide user on this channel. That would have been. Can review. Whoa, there's like fancy things that you can do. Did I do it right? I pressed the save button and I don't know if it's done it or not. I like to extremely low, guys. It's a shame. It says, Dale, yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to leave a like. I'm clicking the save button for standard moderator and it will not let me. Okay, that's frozen. Oh, a pretty little girl now, says Kurt. Not yet, because it won't let me give you the moderation. Right, we'll have to do that later, Kirk. You broke YouTube, says Mikhail. And also, I want to get the runk. I got them shots and wine, says Blues Nate. And also, likes are extremely low. And also, have you ever killed a possum or skinned it? No, I have not. Now, Georgia back in possession. 14 minutes remaining and still only 5 points difference between the two sides. Big moments later on in this game coming. I'll say it again. We need to give Georgia a chance at the Six Nations. Italy have had 23 years. So here's Brian. It was a good game, says the New Age. And there as well. Now, Davis, the replacement. Halfback Tommy Reffel back across to Nick Tompkins. Bit of attacking urgency here from the Welsh. Liam Williams, they've said, has gone backwards. And now he will put in the chipper behind. Lewis Rees-Zammit showing his pace. Gets the bounce of the ball. And now that will be the try for Wales. That is probably the one that they needed as well. Who might need to do something to accept being a mod. Says Gus there. And also, come on, Georgia. Says Grant. And also, especially, I agree, especially since I'm dropping dollars into Georgia, says Peter Wild, if it helps. I sometimes do work as an expert witness in court cases. says Kerr. I mean, it's certainly a heavy CV for a YouTube moderator. Probably more moderation experience than, I'd say, about 99% of all of YouTube's moderators. Not our channel. We've got of course the best of the best, still growing as well. Although the button wouldn't work to let me add another one. I'll try it on the next live stream as well, Kerr, and see whether or not that lets me. But yeah, she doesn't want to work that button anyway. I might be able to do it through a YouTube live or a comment. I've ever farted in the bath and looked at the bubbles. Says, I can't say I've had a bath in about probably 18 years. I once tried one of those like jelly bath ones. You know, the ones that were supposed to make the water all weird, but that was a weird experience. South Africa in the Six Nations would be amazing, says Rudy. Although it would mean that they lose out on the Rugby Championship, and that would also mean that we hardly see New Zealand versus South Africa, hardly see Australia, South Africa, because theoretically they would still play a Northern Hemisphere team in their end-of-year internationals. So more than likely it would end up in that scenario of we don't get to see South Africa play Southern Hemisphere sides anymore, which, I mean, if that is what South Africa want, I guess fair play to them. They can chase that Six Nations trophy, but it would also mean that they don't get to play a lot against the Southern Hemisphere sides in the near future. Now, Liam Williams, looks like he is making his way off. He's had a massive game, 150 running metres. Why is there 12 points difference between Wales and Georgia? Says Mr. Skits, it is because Wales scored the try of Lewis Rees-Zammit off that bounce of the ball. I've set a few records on behalf of the Scottish support on this channel. Says Kerr, you certainly have. You've broken many, many records that I didn't even know were possible to get broken. You know? I should extend the Six Nations to 8 nations with Georgia in the box. What's wrong with Wales, says Morning? Nothing at the moment, theoretically, because they are now going to be confirming their spot as number 1 in their game. You can take Italy straight swap, says Yvonne. Now, Davis. Going to kick it behind, looking for the 50-22. Doesn't quite get the distance on it that he would have liked, but 38 metres out from the line here. Georgia have got themselves another line-out throw. South Africa joins the Six Nations. ABs, they were ABs on classic tours, says John. Although the All Blacks will already probably have their tours sorted. They already have it locked in normally that they're playing 2 European sides, whether that's the Irish like we saw last year or the kind of Northern Hemisphere tour that we saw. So yeah, it would mean that there has to be a lot of adjustments from the current schedule for South Africa to join. I'm still confused a little bit at why the South Africans do want to join the Six Nations so much. Like, I know that it's been a talking point for a little while here, but, like, yeah, it's an interesting one because I would have thought that theoretically, like, well, I know that the European sides aren't keen because then they have to travel to South Africa. So if South Africa were based out of Europe for that competition, I feel like that would be the more likely occurrence, but teams aren't happy with having to travel down to South Africa. Like for the URC, I know that they're slowly adapting, so I don't see it happening soon, but in the future they might consider it. That is us South Africans always trying to be number 1, says Landy Beale, although I feel like for them to be number 1, if they won the Rugby Championship a few years in a row, that would help. It looks like there's a massive kerfuffle going on the sideline here between the two sides. 12 points difference, meaning Wales not winning by 50 margin. Georgia doing very good, or Wales doing bad in this game? A little bit of both. Yep, there's still a bit of push and shove there on the touchline as well. The crowd are booing it, and Georgia doing really well. 2,866 registered male players in Georgia, according to International Rugby Board. Box play out of the Netherlands, says Gus. And yeah, it still seems like the players aren't letting go, so something's been said. I think that's just the aggression coming out of the Georgians. First person to send a chair to Hamish's house, that's a record, says Kerr. And I was going to say, by the sounds of the way you're going, Kerr, it sounds like you're going to have the record for first person to send 2 as well. I honestly love the fairness in your commentary, Hamish, just brilliant and enjoyable. And also, please update the time of the game. Thank you for the great commentary. Kind regards, Chris. And there, so we all got that. There we go. We are about 71 minutes through at the moment. And also because they can't count, says Rian there, and no one in the Six Nation wants South Africa in it, just is not fit for us, says Akaris. And also No Fights Gentlemen come on now. That Schoolboy Days and Excellent Handbags. Sees Yvonne, looks like both teams getting called over now by Matthew Reynel. Argentina wasn't allowed for the Six Nations when they tried to get in an international competition, says Mikhail. And quite the dust up, says Richard Simpson. Sorry for my bad language, that's on me, says Mr. Kitts. No worries, like I'll read it in my head, but I just don't say it out loud. Most of the time. Unless I'm like caught off guard, then I will accidentally say it. Both captains, Rowlands and Ninashvili, or in fact, should a card say. Okay. Matthew Reynel has said, I won't waste my time looking on the TMO. Will Rowlands, you're going to the bin. And Ninashvili, you're going to the bin. And Will Rowlands is confused. He's saying, wait, did I start it? Oh, 20 red. Are you 20 red, says Matthew Reynel. And the captain, Will Rowlands, goes, no, I'm number 4. I've been out here the whole game. But Tame Basham is the player who goes to the bin now with the yellow card alongside Ninashvili. South Africa joining the Six Nations will make the Southern Hemisphere Championship rather pointless, says Karis. And also South Africa versus Tonga, 12,000 likes, or sorry, 1,200 likes. I think South Africa can do that, says Stahl. Now, currently 40 metres out from the line, Georgia have got themselves the line out. You get a bin, and you get a bin, and you get a bin. And also World Cup, not high school, cheesy snake, sake jeeks, or gents, says Blues Nate. Now to the left-hand side here. Georgia can still get within the 7. This is the Rugby Winfrey Cup. You get a card, you get a card. Says Dylan, and how physical is Samoa compared to Tonga. Normally Samoa have got that physicality edge, although the Tongans do put in some big hits along the way. So a Super team, Ireland, Scotland, England, France, Wales, Italy, New Zealand, Australia, Argentina, and South Africa. Oh, so you wouldn't have Fiji. I know that Fiji and Japan were talked about being added in, weren't they? Or at least you had 2 other teams that get added into that competition. Sometimes you've got to slip your sentence and hope Amish doesn't notice, says Gareth. And every once in a while it does happen. The not noticing, of course. But now going to the left-hand side here. Georgia still have not given up in this game. They want to finish their World Cup on a high with a possible upset of the Welsh. Now sling and pass there. Out to the right. Replacements having to do a lot of work here for Georgia. Now Abrasidze. Playing without Ninashvili for the rest of this game, but Wales also playing with only 14 men on the field. I think it's important thing is like, subscribing and support for the monumental amount of work that this gentleman puts into this channel, regardless of country of origin. It's a global community, says Kieran there. Oh, that hit him in the face. For Rio Dyer, it's been charged down. Now another line out. You get a card, you get a card. Card sounds like the start of a song. A risk and benefit of Fiji entering another comp, says James Taylor. And Fiji do well, says James. They certainly do. They've got the game up against Portugal. That has taken place in only around 28 hours' time. Should be an awesome one to watch, as the Portuguese are no easy beats at the moment in this Rugby World Cup. They are a team that I mentioned at the start I thought would be one of those sides that do a lot better than people anticipate. And they've done just that. Georgia, you win this game, says fit with ease. I like Gareth, is also not yet given up, says a Landy Bear. Now, Jalagania being rolled back by Abrasidze. And the thing at the moment for the Georgians is that clock is slowly just continuing to wear down. They have only got another 6 minutes remaining, and it's back in the hands of Wales. Davis goes across to Sam Costello, kicked him behind by Lewis Rees-Zammit, looking for the 50-22. There is space in behind, and the ball will sit up just short. Lewis Rees-Zammit, I don't know if he scored that. He is claiming it, though. At least everyone agrees Owen Farrell is an eggplant, says Kerr. He will be playing in the next contest. Rees-Zammit kicked it forward. Oh, I think he might have got that one down. Rees-Zammit, or did he? They are going upstairs just to check. And 28 hours away is only 4 hours of sleep for you, Hamish, says Rudy. Yeah, there's not much sleep that will be happening over this weekend, but that is the normal for the weekends of the Rugby World Cup. The weird thing is next weekend we're only going to have theoretically 4 games of the Rugby World Cup. Chick bang. A moment in this match, maybe later, says Johan. I feel like if we didn't bring out a shirt that was like a limited edition chick bang by the end of this Rugby World Cup, we've done something wrong. But yeah, that would be an interesting. Oh no, there's another injury. Who's that? I think that is actually the big number, right? The record was when the box played. As the point says Stull, and also might be a try, says Brian, and why not the Six Nations, or the Eight Nations, South Africa and Georgia included, says Mornay. Yeah, it's still confusing to me about the whole, like, I guess South Africa, the idea of them joining the Six Nations, I would assume, is to play different opposition, or is it just to try and win the Six Nations, seeing as the Rugby Championship hasn't come home for the last few years? And how is that a try, says Kawasi? He might have almost got close to putting that one down, Lewis Rees-Zammit. He about touched that, I believe. Already quarterfinals time flies, and also missed Kiwi fish and chips, says Ian. And the record, oh no, I read that one. And what are you going to do with all your free time, says Rudy? Well, the thing is, it's probably going to be mainly editing throughout the week. You sound a little tired, Hamish, says Stull. I think that's just the Rugby World Cup. If you look at a picture of me at the start of the World Cup, and then look at a picture of me at the end, I will look about 4 years older and like I've been on like a massive binge throughout this one of a whole heap of substances. But that is not the case. It's just sleep deprivation. The World Cup is too long for my liking, mate. It's like a whole season, says Chronic Underachiever. And also, they didn't show the replay, says Yvonne. But yeah, the try does stand for the Welsh. The kick did not go over, but it is 36 points to 19 now in favour of Georgia. It's about the better time zone and aligning URC with the national side, says John. So you look 12, says Adrian. Get that caffeine to Hamish. And also just Rees-Zammit walking around, says Yvonne. And also exactly Yvonne, says Kawasi. On the halfway line, Georgia still want to get one last try. And Fafa's not allowed to wear his flag underpants. And now he'll be flagless, says Johannes. And also looking at the replay, Lewis Rees-Zammit touched it down with one of his fingers, kicked him behind here. Tabuzadze grubbers it forward, cleaned up at the back by Lewis Rees-Zammit, who would now have to run 100 metres to be able to score the try. Looks like instead he will run it up to his 22 and go for the kick him behind. We have good there. I think people are very harsh on you, Mish. You're looking sound great, says Dylan. Thank you very much, mate. And also, Hamish isn't tired. He's a marathon commentary king, never misses a heartbeat, says Ruth. And also, would Zammit be a better jockey model than Carter, says Fluffy? Depends, because I know that Lewis Rees-Zammit, he gets those rosy cheeks when he starts running around, so I wonder if it's the same when he gets embarrassed, whereas DC seems cool, calm, and collected. I love you commentating the accent, says Lyndon. At the heart of these second-tier teams is pure rugby. Respect to Georgia for giving us a challenging game, says Timid. And here's an idea, adding Namibia and Fiji to the Rugby Championship. They make Six Nations 6 and Rugby Championship 6. The winners of both competition face off in a 3-match series. Just an idea, says Mr. Skits. That could work. Although I feel like rather than Namibia, they would go with maybe Japan instead. You have to do that before, or have to do it before and after photo, then the World Cup and put it on a t-shirt, says Rudy. And I hope rugby fans support teams like Georgia after the World Cup. They certainly deserve all the support they can get. And drink some fermented mangoes and sugar and yeast. Excellent energy booster, Hamish, says Stull. And Georgia put up a super fight, says Mark. Yeah, they've been impressive throughout this game. I feel like they haven't really stepped down from the challenge. Wales now, though, starting to find some momentum with 3 minutes remaining. Great work from the captain. Shita Kardse wins the penalty for the Georgians. Thomas Williams stalling it a little bit, or in fact it was Gareth Davis just chucking the ball to the referee. I said Namibia because Japan is Northern Hemisphere, says Mr. Skits. Although, if we're working on the time zone side of things, it would make less sense to have Namibia in the comp. Because, yeah, like... Oh, but South Africa... yes, I guess I can see what you're saying there. I wonder if they'd consider doing like the rest of the sides, like a tier 2 with Namibia, Uruguay, Chile, Canada, USA. It's just they'll need funding, of course, for a competition like that to take place. We have enough to edge Scotland, says Alden. Good vibes to all. I hope you all have a blessed weekend, says Stephen Marks. Ninashvili has some eyebrows, says Gus. Swap you for England. You can have the box. England to the Rugby Championship, says Blues Nate. It'd be great if you had an offsider with Big Boobs just saying, says Ian. I mean, I can take it down in the notes for what we can do in the future. I guess it takes a lot of money, and some countries can't afford that, says Mikhail. He's got huge boobs, says Fluffy. Looks like a bit of a limp here for Tubid Sudzi. And Georgians dropping like flies, says Yvonne. And it's been a tough Rugby World Cup for them. I believe they lost about 2 or 3 more players before this match took place from injuries. Wales throughout this contest, I don't think they've had a huge amount of injuries about. So far, Sam Costello has done exactly what he needed to do, which is play the 80 minutes so that they can rest Dan Biggar for that little bit longer. Their lack of strength and conditioning showing up, and you're an honorary South African by now. A tired one, but nonetheless, or one nonetheless. There's Landy Bear, and thanks to everyone. See you all on the next stream, says Grant. And also we have got their NEF RFC. And also we should get the Saudi into rugby. They could easily sponsor a tournament, says I was here. Now Riffle, inside ball. Elliot D. Inside of the 22, Wales want to bring up that 40. Hats off to Georgia for putting up a fight, says Stormy. Worst decision by the referees in this World Cup, never a try, says Rian. And thanks, Hamish, great commentary, about to have dinner. Myself, Turkish dish, says Brian. Oh, nice hands out to George North. He will get the try with 30 seconds remaining. And that will be the last moment we see of the day. Georgia don't want to qualify because half of them are meant to be back at work on Monday, says Kerr. Yeah, it's crazy amount of players in this Rugby World Cup. Not just for Georgia, but also for the likes of Chile. A lot of their players have full-time jobs outside of the Rugby World Cup. So, yeah, they'll be heading back and just going about their day-to-day life now as if the World Cup, hasn't happened theoretically. But for the players, of course, there'll be those memories of the competition. Told you, said Hadrain. And so Lowell says I was here. And great work, mate, says Ian there as well. But yeah, the next game, it is going to be kicking off in 30 minutes time, or in fact our live stream will be starting in 30 minutes time. The actual match will be starting just a little bit later at 3:40 or 4:45. You're a national treasure, mate. Says Dar, thank you very much, mate. And also Barracuda song is best energy generator ever. Everyone wants to dance. And yeah, Georgia made it back to within 5 points. Fair play to them for making this game more exciting, says Eldon. Now the last kick of the game for Sam Costello. And it has gone over the post once more. One of the Chilean boys is my student, the University of Concepcion, says Bin the Chilean Mari. That is the end of this game. Wales finished number 1 in Pool C. It's just that question mark of who it will be, whether it's Australia or Fiji now, who make their way through as the other side. Now the next game between England and Samoa, that will not determine too much in terms of this pool, unless, of course, we see, one moment, we will click there. As you can see, England are far enough ahead that they will not lose their spot. It's Argentina, Japan tomorrow. That will be the big determiner of who makes their way through to the quarterfinals. But with that win, Wales will progress up to 18, in fact, 19 points. I believe at this stage that is the highest points we have seen from a team at number 1 throughout this Rugby World Cup. The only side to possibly draw that is actually Ireland from here on out, or the English, if they are able to get themselves a big win up against the Samoans. But the next games that are just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, England versus Samoa, that will be taking place in just under an hour's time from the kickoff. Ireland versus Scotland, the last game of the Sunday, and then Japan versus Argentina at 12. Tonga versus Romania, that is taking place a little bit later on, and then Fiji, Portugal. Those are the 3 games we are covering tomorrow night. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is hugely appreciated, everyone being here throughout this Rugby World Cup. We are covering every single one of these live streams and 30-minute cheer building challenge now, says Kerr. I see you on the next one, says Yvonne. $50 says you can make it, says Kerr. I feel like that would be a hard one, because I honestly feel like I would probably mess up somewhere along the way and then try and sit on it, and it would just flop off to the side. Fantastic commentary, thank you. Says Adrian, and Samoa, I will win by 29 and Argentina, Japan draw, says Chris Seo there. And well done, Wales, and you, Hamish, says Stahl. And also Lush says, Adrian and Anya, Georgia, good fight, says Fluffy. Georgia, Uruguay, Portugal, Chile were enjoyable enough to watch these past few weeks, says Aaron. And yes, we're the best, says Jim there. Fantastic commentary, thank you. And Samoa win by 29 and Argentina-Japan draw, says Chris. Oh, so on the technicality of a draw, I think they'd go to the points differential, which at the moment in that group would mean that Argentina would go through to the next stage. Yeah, no matter what for Samoa, even though if they do get themselves a win, they will be sitting on maximum 11 points, they still wouldn't go through because they did lose to these two sides. So it would mean that Samoa still cannot quite make their way through. Till later, enjoy your dinners. Have a big reefer and go to bed, says, or reefer, and go to bed, says Ian. Although we have still got another 2 games on later on tonight. The next one we are starting in 25 minutes time, taking place between England and the Samoans. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, like I mentioned, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will see you all in a very short moment for the next contest, England versus Samoa. I'm going to go look at some instructions for a gaming chair to see how doable it is. I will see you all for the next one.